Hey everybody, welcome to the meteor stream. We're going to look for meteors tonight over in Taurus. And you can see there's a little bit of cloudiness around, but it's not that bad. And we're going to try to make the most of the night. And if it gets better, we're going to put the camera back on the telescope and go hunting for some nice objects. Until then, let's explore the meteor sky, shall we? Welcome to SkyTour LiveStream for 11/8/2018. We'll talk to you real soon.
Is that a puppy I hear in the background?
Indeed you do. You hear Dingo back there just going at it. I don't know why. She's just going crazy. She's been let outside, and this is what happens when you let her outside.
Does she want to be out with her dad?
Nope. She doesn't know who her dad is. You know?
Oh, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not her dad.
You're her adoptive dad.
No. So untrue. I am not her dad. I am her owner. Very different.
Boo. That's why you're not a cat person.
That's true. I'm not a cat person.
I don't own my cats.
Yeah, I'm not.
But, well, they're not my babies either. I'm not crazy, but
I'm not that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, hey everybody, welcome. We're going to be looking at meteors tonight. Hopefully we'll see a few. And Dingo is standing guard. Our dog is standing guard outside. We actually have had some wild animals in the neighborhood, and she's probably responding to those. So the observatory dome door actually is open right now. So gotta be careful here. And that said, I'm going to start some music, and let's see what we get here. All right. Now we're gonna be talking over the music too, but I'll actually use our typical music that we use. And if you have any questions, or you want to see anything, or you got any other comments, let us know. Happy to help you.
Yeah, there's a few in already. So if anyone has any questions for Mark in general, let us know. Also, if you guys have any thoughts on what you'd like to hear on SkyTour Radio on Sundays, let us know.
This Sunday we have a, we're taking bids, and the price is right, to see if you've got any ideas for what you'd like to see on or hear on SkyTour this weekend on KGRA Radio. So it's entirely your call. How's that? You let us know what you'd like to hear, and we will cover that topic for you. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So just let me know, or let Amanda know, and she will pass it on, and I will say, wow, what a good idea, most likely. And then we'll pursue it. We'll figure out what it is you want to talk about, and we will talk about it. I think.
Well, really I know I'm going to want to hear a bit about your stay in Arizona, about the boot camp and stuff. I'm not sure how much you're allowed to talk about, but...
Well, I can talk about all of it.
Yeah?
Sure,
I'd like to know what... Well, I mean, we can even talk about some of it tonight. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a whole show, but well, I found it interesting that we did a pre-record. For those of you that don't know, Mark was in Arizona for the last 10 days doing a MUFON boot camp.
Well,
teaching on young up-and-comers.
Yeah, and actually working on... I did a presentation for the Phoenix MUFON group. And they were very grateful. Actually, I did a really cool demo where I took the toilet paper with me. What does that mean? It means I actually I created on the roll of toilet paper. I created the entire history of the Earth, and I set that out for them to see. And as I unrolled it, we saw the history of the Earth unfold before us. It was really cool. You know? It was. I'm actually going to focus the camera now. First, I'm going to just get us a little closer in here. And I'll focus on something else. Oh, how about that? We'll focus on the Pleiades. Thank you very much. I like the Pleiades. These are the seven sisters, those bright B stars that we know are up in the Pleiades. And they're actually quite interesting. And I think that the Pleiades probably deserve tremendous mention because they are a very bright cluster of blue stars. And these stars, out of focus now, but see when we do the defocusing, even with the camera, like this, mounted on a tripod, okay? Because it's really, you know, they're far out, and then I zoom in, you can see how blue they are. This is exactly what it looks like, you know, there's no filter on the camera at this moment. So when you actually focus, look what happens. You kind of lose the color a little because it gets saturated. That's one of the problems we have. But that's okay, you know, not a problem. Really, but we could actually. Let me try. Let's do a. I'm gonna do a. I can do about a 2 second. I have to do 25,600 ISO for 2 seconds, just to see what we get here, and then I'll show you. So
I forgot the first thing I asked you to do is share screens, and I'm over watching it on YouTube. I was delayed. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Topic chat. We are good.
All right, let's. Is nothing showing up right now? Do you see that?
I see a black screen. Oh wait.
It keeps popping in.
It's flashing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm worried about is that the cable has already. I bought this cable. I bought two of them. And the cable may already be bad. Isn't that great? This is just wonderful stuff. Okay, first things first. I'm going to make a little change. I'm going to zoom out. And the observatory actually is right next to us. You can actually see it if I could get the camera to come up here. Stupid mount is really not very flexible anymore. I don't know why. There it is. There's the observatory. And we're gonna keep looking for meteors. I already saw 2 meteors tonight, just a little while ago. Very cool.
When he was setting up for the stream, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so now I'm gonna do that. But I'm actually I want to change the position a little bit. I'm gonna move this. So the camera's gonna move a little bit. You're gonna see a little movement on the screen as I alter the position of the camera on the mount. I want to do that so I can maybe zoom farther with the camera. There we go. Alright. So now I come back here and we're not going to have to worry about this so much. Now if I do this, move it like that, and now we can do this.
Sorry for the strobing effect, folks.
Is it strobing now? Oh, stupid thing.
Well, it keeps cutting out.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I really don't like that. Okay, let me see if we can fix that. No, we can't seem to fix that. Look at that. Just let me know if it's cutting out, okay? Amanda?
Yeah, I see it so far.
Alright. Okay, well, first of all, let's go down a little more here. And now let's go to here. There we go. It's a little better. And let's now zoom in again.
Was that a finger?
It was.
Ah!
I know, right? Alright, now we'll come up here. And let's look at this Pleiades again. And let's bring the sensitivity way up. This is at 160,000, 204,800, 256,000, and 320,000. You can see we're rapidly getting way too bright. All right, and then I'll drop it down now. Okay, let's actually bring it to 80,000 for purposes of the stream. All right, and now you can see we have a nice view. And again, the dome is right next to me. I'm actually outside the dome, so it's pretty nice. All right, and let's actually zoom in a little bit. Oh, great. Thanks for stopping the stream. Come on. All right, there we go. All right. Okay. So, here we are. We're at a... we actually previously, I decided to go from doing a regular sky stream to a meteor stream because I saw meteors. And one of them went cruising right through Cygnus over my head. And then also Pegasus, but we didn't have a full capability to stream at that moment, so we didn't actually see it. You know, so now we're looking only at the sky here, and if I turn us slightly, okay, oh great, damn thing. I'm actually thinking that I got ripped off in these cords.
Yeah.
I thought I got ripped off. Look at this. They should be showing right now, and I do not know why that's doing that. Why do I have this issue with my freaking camera all the time? Alright, let me see if this works. All I want to do is turn it. Alright, and now we're looking toward the black. God. Alright, and that is, we're looking toward Cassiopeia, which is at the top of the view there. Let's see if I can see if I can get anything to happen here. Alright, there's Cassiopeia. And now, if we zoom into Cassiopeia a little bit, you can see it there. Alright, and now Cassiopeia is actually one of the constellations through which we had seen meteors earlier. Oh, great! All right, you know, I'm really thinking that that I have I've been ripped off here. This is not working right for me. Sorry, guys. I'm having technical problems with the stupid camera, and I'm going to try and make this work as best I can. I'll tell you, it's certainly not being helpful. Maybe if I do this. Nope. Ay. Well, see, you come with me with all the problems we have. You come with me. That's just great. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, hey. That's what happens in live radio.
Yeah.
Sometimes something.
Well, this is
goes
live
wrong
video. If it was live radio, this wouldn't be a problem. I know what you mean.
Well, same thing.
I know what you mean. Okay, so let's take a look at the sky. If I can actually get this to move without breaking, and of course not. Alright, there's the Pleiades. I got them centered. Alright, and it's looking pretty nice. Now if I can just I'll drop down the ASA a little bit. Alright, now we can see. Very cool. I'm just I'm very happy with how this is actually looking. Looks really nice, but I'm trying to get the camera to continue to function properly. You know.
And speaking of cameras, Daryl wants to know how you got your camera sorted when, like,
with Bill.
Yes.
Well, actually, that's interesting because one of the problems I had was I didn't like that I didn't have full screen real estate. In other words, the screen wasn't showing everything that it could show for the view. Now as you
showing
see,
your borders and stuff.
Yeah, and now as you see, it can. So I did figure out how that worked and how that would actually function, and I got that to work, which is wonderful. So then, as far as the colors that you saw, like with other streams, like Bill's stream, they were actually very blue, it seemed. Now, blue is unrealistic. I was staying with realistic, and this is what I told Bill, and Bill agreed with me. But then, as far as just some kind of having some kind of a view that was kind of pretty, but still pretty but still functional, I actually proceeded to change the view to just the regular star view. And so I didn't use this particular creative style that he was using. And so my colors were a little more muted. Okay, this actually looks pretty on the screen right now. And I kind of like it. Looks really nice. But I could do a little better on that too. But let's just keep looking for meteors and see what we can see for the meteors. I'm gonna keep going. How many people are actually watching right now? Do you know?
Give me 1 second.
3, 4?
About 33.
Oh, cool.
Not all of them are in chat, but they are watching, so
cool.
We'll take it.
Sure. Did I see something go across the screen now? Was that a mistake?
I don't know. I just went off screen for a second.
Alright.
Daryl says you're vignetting now.
Yeah, I realize that. The vignetting is something that is going to happen with this camera, but I'm going to show you something interesting about that. And I go back out. Ouch. I bumped my head. Alright, here we go. So I'm back outside now. And I know I'm vignetting. Meaning, what's vignetting? Well, vignetting is actually when you...
Like that circle around it?
Yes. That's vignetting. So...
We had another question from Laura, actually. I think I know the answer to it, but I want to hear the rest of it from you.
Alright.
She wants to know if the meteors have anything to do with the meteor that hit Spain the other day.
Well,
that's my answer is no, but I'd like to hear more about this meteor hitting Spain, so...
Well, we actually don't know that for sure, because the meteor that was seen in Spain could very well be related. And that's something...
I thought this meteor shower was going to happen anyway.
Well, it did. But the thing is, this meteor shower is responsible for, many meteors that come into our atmosphere. It could have been responsible for the one seen in Spain. There's no doubt about that. It very well could have been.
Yeah, the meteor shower might have sent one to Spain.
Well, again...
But the one that hit Spain didn't cause the rest of them.
No. It didn't cause the rest of them, but it could have been part of the same shower.
Yeah, okay. I was reading it backwards.
Alright, no worries. I mean, that was just my thought, that... and that's something that is fairly common, is that, we're going to see meteors, and sometimes those meteors will actually come to the planet and strike the planet, and, actually get down to the ground. It's not easy for them to do that, frankly, but they could do that. Let me see if I can...
I've heard it's like a rarity for a meteor to actually like strike and kill someone, but it has happened at least once in history.
Yes.
Like, obviously they're going ridiculously fast, but by the time they get to like street level and stuff, like, I mean, how much time would you have?
When they get to the ground?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, we're talking about...
Like, would you not see this thing coming for a while before it actually got close enough to hit you?
No, not at all, because they're entering the atmosphere anywhere between 15,000 and 35,000 kilometers per hour. So they're going to go through all of the atmosphere in just a fraction of a few seconds. So when that happens, they're going to, they're going to either burn up or they're going to make it to the ground.
So would you never see it coming?
You would, if it was coming right at you.
Yeah.
And I've seen 1 or 2 meteors like that in my life. If a meteor is coming right at you, then what you see is a bright light in the sky, and it stays in one spot, just goes whoop, and that's about it. All right, that's the meteor coming right at you. When they're not coming right at you, you actually see a streak in the sky. You don't see a streak in the sky if it's coming right at you. Follow? If it's coming right at you, you're gonna just see a point of light in the sky, and that's when you really gotta you say, "Oh, what's that?" And you got a couple seconds of decision making. But the fact is,
that's okay. That's my question. Would you have a few seconds to make a decision to jump out of the way?
Yeah, except
pick left or right, or
yeah, but you could you more likely jump right into it. For all you know. I mean, it's not. There's no exact science here, and we wouldn't.
And
know.
Again, this is just crazy hypothetical, but
well, yeah.
I'm just wondering, if I was about to be hit by a meteor.
Yeah.
Let's just say hypothetically, would I have time? Would the light not be getting bigger and brighter, and maybe even some heat as it got closer to me?
Well, plenty of heat.
What exactly would happen?
The reason that you're seeing it at all is because of the heat, and the small particle that's entering the atmosphere. If it's if it's going to reach you, it's going to be a big particle, a big object. It might have started life over a foot across or more, and then when it hit the Earth's atmosphere, it was ablated or burned away until there was nothing left of it, and then it would just be a streak that would be gone as it faded out. However, the chances are that a fairly big object would actually burn somewhat in the sky, and then once it slowed down enough, that burning would stop, and thus the glow would stop. And if the glow stops, the rock itself might continue and might make it all the way to the ground. And if that happened, well then at the point where it hits, it's actually going to be falling kind of straight down at that point, because the air would have slowed it enough to just become a falling object. But it could have enough energy to cause serious damage if it's big enough. And there was one such rock that struck in Wethersfield, Connecticut, just a few miles from here. And that rock actually went through the roof of a house, down into the basement, bounced off the concrete floor, came back up through the floor, and hit a woman sitting at her couch, watching TV. Okay? And then 3 years later, just another mile or so from that rock impact, another one happened that smashed the trunk end of a guy's car. Just totally took the trunk right down to the gas tank and through. So it's odd how these things happen. There's no rhyme or reason. We can't predict where they're going to hit, and we can't really tell what kind of energies they might have in them when they get here. I mean, we kind of guess that after midnight they're going to be slower. So before midnight they're going to be hitting faster. Because the Earth is kind of heading into them. But after midnight, they got to catch up to the Earth. So they're going to go through the atmosphere slower. And you're going to watch them go slowly through the sky, more so than if the other way around. Like the one I saw earlier, it came streaking in, and it crossed more than half the sky and was gone in about 1 second. No more than that, just about 1 second. So that was a fairly fast, very fast meteor moving through the sky, because it had already, had a chance to, slow down, and it was ablated away or burned away, and all that was left of it was maybe a little piece of dust when it was done. But the fact is, most meteors are only dust sized, or only sand grain sized that you see in the sky. Only the very biggest ones actually, create these spectacular objects that you see. in the sky sometimes. Like our last stream for the Orionids, we actually caught this blazing one that actually burned up as it entered the Earth's atmosphere, and you saw it explode at the end. And that's called a bolide, B-O-L-I-D-E, a bolide. And when a bolide hits like that, sometimes you can actually hear the noise a couple minutes later. You know, you'll see this flash, and then a couple minutes later you hear, you know, and that's the sound of it being destroyed. I've heard one of those in my life, and man, that's like, wow, that's so cool, you know. So very, very cool, and I actually really like that situation.
I think that's what Daryl's actually talking about in chat. He said he had a brilliant meteor pass over town here some years ago. It's pretty close. It exploded in a terminal detonation.
Yeah, that's what it would do. A terminal detonation. It would, and that's where the maximum.
You hear it all over town.
That's where the aerodynamic pressure on the object becomes so great that it literally is like hitting a wall, and so it's like hitting a massive wall, and that wall is the atmosphere. And as the friction builds, there's a certain point at which we have a peak, what's called peak pressure, and that peak pressure can sometimes destroy the object. And that's the point usually when the meteor is the brightest, where it flashes at the very last second, and boom. All right. And most meteors, like I said, they're hitting the Earth at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. So when they hit, it doesn't take long for them to reach the amount of atmosphere that would be enough to begin to ablate them and burn them away. So we would see that, you know, and I tell you, it's just it's a beautiful sight, you know. And in this view, we're actually seeing the dome. I'm inside the dome now, doing something else. And,
is it warming up?
No, the dome can't warm up.
No, you said you were doing something in there. Were you trying to warm up?
Oh, well, if I was going to warm up, I'd be in the house.
No.
I can't warm up out here. You can't have the heat on in a dome. Because this little narrow slit that we have right here. Okay, there's my hand reaching through the dome. Okay,
Mark.
This narrow. Hi guys, what's happening? Yeah, hi there, boys. How are you? No, this dome slit right here is a narrow opening, and if I were to try and heat this, okay, that would actually be disastrous, because all the heat would come out of this slot right here. You know, it would come out of here and just cause all kinds of difficulties for the image that the telescope, which is inside here, is trying to see. So we don't typically ever heat a dome. It's not a good idea, you know. Now you may notice there's a little red dot over on the left side of the screen.
I do.
Yeah, that red dot is actually a artifact of the camera, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, if I move the camera, you'll see that the little red dot doesn't go anywhere. It stays in the same relative spot. Okay, and this is the dome. I'm in here. There's the telescope, and you know, that's me. Hi guys. Okay, so that said, I'm in my winter gear too. Let's get back over here. All right, and this is good. Now I'll move it a little more this way. Keep the dome out of the view for a moment. Maybe just partially in the view. That gives me an idea where I am. Alright, and I also can, I think I'd like to raise this a little. Oh, see that? Already failed me for a second. Alright, that did. I have to use some kind of low temperature lubricant on this to actually allow me to move it when it's really, really cold out. And that's the problem. I will say this though. The clouds have vanished, which is good. I like it when the clouds vanish, you know what I mean? So, now if we, let's see here, Mia, just turn the light.
I want to see some meteors.
You do?
I do.
Me too. That'd be nice. I saw 2 so far. I'm going to try going a little higher here.
Yeah, I know, and that was a very encouraging sign considering it's so early and you already saw 2 just setting up.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're above the Pleiades now, looking at Andromeda in that region. Oh, good, thanks. And let's see. Why are you doing that? Stop it. Oh, goody. That's wonderful. Looks like it finally failed. Alright, well, let's try something.
Bear with us, folks.
Oh, no, I'm not worried. They will. They will. I'm just trying to find why this is doing what it did. I don't like these cables sometimes do not work. I cannot stand that. Alright, well. Alright, well. I'm guessing it's probably going to be that I'm going to go in and get the other cable. I bought 2 at the same time. And I will...
Were these not the replacements for the other cables that went bad? I mean,
yes,
this is not like the 5th cable you've gone through in less than a year?
I think this is like the 4th in about 3 months, actually.
Yeah.
So let's just check it out. Damn it. No meteors that we're missing, I promise. Not yet. So let's see what we got here.
Do you leave your cables outside all night?
I do not. They're always inside. Alright, let's just do this now. Let's just take this and move it. Wow. Okay, I'm looking at a failure. It was there for a second and it goes. Yeah, see, that's like... Alright, now, anyone who's watching is going to say, just leave it! And okay, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. So at least you see something while, while the battery's still good in the camera. And you will see something. Let's see what the battery life is actually. Okay, I'm good. Alright. Now, what I can do is I can actually go get the other cable and be ready to change it shortly. As this event inevitably will fail again. So, then we could just keep talking. Or I'll just go to the telescope because we have a clear night. Which is kind of cool. I'm not going to waste tonight. So down the bottom of the screen you see the Pleiades, 7 sisters, and above that you actually see that we are looking up at Andromeda, and we are looking at Pegasus, the great square of Pegasus. So let's see if we can actually see the Andromeda Galaxy.
Is Pegasus right above Pleiades?
Yeah.
Like you keep going up, like a slight bit to the right?
Yeah.
Not really very bit. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I see the square then. Four stars that make up a square.
I'm not.
That's Pegasus? No?
I'm not sure that... I think the stars you're looking at for Pegasus... Okay, first of all, just above center, do you see the Andromeda Galaxy?
No, it kind of looks a little too bright for me to...
Alright, well, let me actually try to... This will be clever if I can zoom in on this and show it to you. Because I see the Andromeda Galaxy. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Right here. Now it's sort of right at the top. Do you see it? Right at the top of the screen.
I don't think I see it, but am I looking for, like, a streak of white light, kinda?
Yep.
Like the Milky Way?
I'm going to dare to actually move the camera a little bit. Like this. Don't fail me now. Let's do this. Okay. And now, if I can zoom in a little
Is it
more.
on the left going down? Oh, well, maybe not.
No, it's right. You should see it now.
Daryl must be pulling his hair out.
Do you see it? It's just below the top of the screen, and now it's actually at the top of the screen, just to the right. Do you see it? Let me see if I can show it to you a little better. Let's do this. Now you should see it. Dare to turn a little. Other way. Okay, right there. It's just below the top of the screen. Alright, and now let me try and I'm gonna bring this up a little more. I'm gonna try and center it. Ah, crap. Did it come back? I think it did, then it went. Now it's back, then it's gone, then it's back. Ah! Cut that crap out. Alright, well, it was fun while it lasted. I was trying to get this to work. Let's try. Just unplug and plug in. In case it's just that. And alright. Alright, well, let's do this. If we zoom out. Oh crap, did it fail again? Oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm thinking it's not really working for you. So
sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna just pop this back down.
Yeah, just show me an area where we're gonna see shooters, and I'll be patient.
You mean meteors?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, well, what's a shooter then? And don't say a little drink.
No, it's just a little. It's another name for a meteor. That's all
okay,
it is.
so then why were you being finicky?
Because Bill calls them shooters, I call them meteors. Keith calls them what's that? You know, I don't know. I don't know what he says. Let's just try and get this thing to work. Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm gonna
Oh, and something we were talking about before we started, and you said no, save it for when we're on air.
Yes.
I said if, like, a meteor passing causes a meteor shower, why doesn't an asteroid passing cause an asteroid shower? Because there's supposed to be 3 large asteroids passing by this weekend, passing very close to Earth.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if that was going to have more of an impact for what we were already looking for to begin with.
No, because so here's the thing with meteors are fine dust left behind by comets as they've gone around the sun. Asteroids are actual rock bodies that are in the solar system that can be disturbed enough to head toward us. And there's certainly a lot of them that are also on the Earth's orbit itself. They're kind of in the Earth's orbit. And they're called Earth crossers. And there's a program to study those called the Near Earth Asteroid Program, or Near Earth Object, NEO program. And these Near Earth objects are categorized. There's thousands of them. And as they refine the orbits for these, they remove more and more each year from a threat. So when the press gets a hold of it, sometimes they say, another asteroid threat imminent. And then, of course, the NEO, Near Earth Object Group, says, nope, no, not a problem. We've already calculated its orbit, and it's going to pose no threat. So, you know, there's a lot of potential objects out there that could hit us, but typically they're not actually going to actually strike us, because the calculations are done to figure out what their orbits are going to be. All right, and most times they're not dangerous to us. You know. So once again, for anyone just joining us, in the center of the screen, just to the right, is the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters. To the left of the Pleiades, you see a pentagon, sort of a pentagon-shaped constellation with a bright star kind of to the upper left of that little pattern of stars. That's actually called Auriga, that constellation. And that bright star you see to the left of the Pleiades, with three little ones near it, is called Capella. And down below the Pleiades, you see another star, which is actually kind of a red star. It looks kind of red on the screen, and it's associated with this other cluster of stars that's right near it called the Hyades. We can actually see the Hyades here, and you know, I'm gonna dare to just zoom without turning the scope here, turning the camera. But as I zoom in, you can see the Hyades down there, just below the Pleiades. You see those?
I think so.
Yeah.
I see a cluster at the bottom of the screen. I'm assuming that's it.
Yeah, it looks a V shape. You see the V shape, and then the red star kind of forms the lower part of the V. All right, and then the Pleiades are above it. And then
I can recognize the Pleiades now.
Yes.
For the most part, I think I'm pretty good at recognizing them now.
I think you are, and I think that's pretty cool. And now, as we, if I just zoom in a little more, you can see that the Pleiades are coming into focus, and when they do, I'm going to make sure we have focus on the stars. So defocus and refocus. By the way, note the color. We're not using a filter. This is the actual color of the stars. They're actually very, very blue. They're B-type stars in our OBAFGKM spectral class study, and that's the Pleiades, and they're actually very interesting because they're passing through. This is interesting. The Pleiades are actually passing through an area of space that has a lot of dust in it. So they did not cause the dust that we see they didn't cause the dust that we see in the area around the Pleiades. They're actually they actually are part of, what the hell? Stop it! I'm not even touching the camera. Jeez, I'm not even touching the camera. What is going on here? So they're actually part of it, which is kind of cool. They're not part of it. They're actually boy, I'm sorry. I'm focusing on 5 things, so that's why I'm having an issue here. Sorry. Pleiades are actually 5. You know, these 7 sisters and all the associated stars within that cluster of the Pleiades is moving through space, as all clusters do, as all stars do. They're kind of gravitationally bound to each other, so they're sort of moving as a unit. And as they do, they're passing through this region of space that has this dust in it. This dust is these little micron-sized grains, but there's billions and trillions of them. And so we actually see a reflection nebula. That is a nebula that is being reflective of the starlight hitting them from these blue stars. And that's what you see around the Pleiades, is that these aprons of beautiful blue dust, and they're really pretty. Really, really pretty. So, I really, I'm, of course, I've been enamored with the Pleiades ever since I was a kid. And I'm also enamored with Orion, which is actually below and rising. There's below the actually, let me see if I can see it below that.
Oh, perfect! Oh, for God's sakes, why weren't you using your finger to point things out?
What?
You could have pointed out Andromeda, the Andromeda Galaxy.
I could have. You're right, but see,
you could have pointed at everything. Point at everything again,
okay,
please.
There's the Hyades right there. There's a little
okay,
shape.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Where's the red star in it?
That's the Pleiades right there. Okay. And this is the red star right there. That's Aldebaran.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I actually did that before, didn't I? I've done that before, and I didn't do it this time. I was kind of silly.
Okay, where is Pegasus?
Pegasus is out of the view up top.
Oh, okay.
All right, and
where's Orion rising?
Orion rising is actually, I'll show you. Okay, right down here, okay, this star here, you can barely see, I think, let me see where it is, right there. Then there's a star here, which you can barely see, that's Betelgeuse right over there. And, you know, zooming in isn't going to help us here. I would actually have to change the angle, and I'm kind of...
Oh.
I know, right? Well, I'm going to get a new cable. I'm just done, you know. There it is, okay. And it stayed, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. So here is Betelgeuse right there. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, is that Betelgeuse? I'm trying to... Oh no, this is Betelgeuse right there. Little tiny star right there, not so tiny. And there is Bellatrix right there. The belt is rising down here, and this will all be higher in the sky in a little while. Alright, and we can also
Vicky says she sees the nose of Taurus. Where's that?
Well, this is the shoulder of Taurus, the bull, which is the Pleiades, and Aldebaran and the Hyades form the face of the bull, and this is sort of the shoulder. In a little while, hopefully, if I can handle the cold, rising from down here, out of the murk is going to come Messier number 1, the Crab Nebula Supernova Remnant, and I'm going to want to look at that. So we'll be going back in to look at it on the telescope, and during that point, I will shift over to the other cable to use the cable and see better, if we can see better. Now, over here, this right here is Capella. Hang on. This is Capella right here.
The goat herder.
Yep. And
do you hear that, Daryl?
And these 3 stars right here
are the kids.
Are the kids. Yep. And then you see we got this star. We got this star.
Where's
this star?
Where's
this star? And
Auriga or Auriga?
This is what it is. This is Auriga.
Oh, the whole constellation. Oh, okay.
Right there, Auriga. See. So we've got
Auriga constellation.
Auriga here. And we have Taurus here. We have Orion down here. And then up here we have Andromeda. And
that always stays the same.
Well, while
like it'll move, but they'll all move together
because of the rotation of the Earth and the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. Yes, they're moving together in the sky because the Earth is rotating out from under all of these stars. They're moving season to season because as the Earth goes around the Sun, our nighttime side of the Earth faces a different place in the universe. And as we see that change, we see the stars change all through the course of the year. But as far as the stars moving, physically moving, they are always moving. The thing is, they're so far away that the movement is very unnoticeable by us, you know. Okay, so once again, down here, okay, this is Betelgeuse right there. And this is Bellatrix. And the belt of Orion is just here. You can see Rigel and Safe down here, but they're very, very faint. Yeah, very nice. I'm getting a green laser, and I'll be able to use the green laser to point these out on the camera too, by the way, and that'll even be better because you'll see the beam pointing right at these things. Because I'll put it out in front of the camera and you'll see it. Kind of neat, huh?
That's very cool.
Yeah. And
Jude.
We're also getting we're getting.
Say hey, Jude.
Oh, is Jude here?
Here she is.
Hey, hi Jude. How are you? How are things going? I know they could be better. You know, I've been trying to get a company that owes both of us money to pay us, and they finally relented. And unfortunately, I had to accept pennies on the dollar for what they owe me because they're in bankruptcy. But that's what happens. You know, you do business long enough, and sometimes you're going to encounter that kind of stupidity. But I'm glad you came in, Jude. It's nice to see you. I think she's actually out in Indianapolis right now from Colorado. Mm-hmm. But she can tell us. I can't see the chat, so you'll have to look at it, Amanda. Let's see here. Man, this is really turned into a reasonably good night, although more clouds are following up in the back. So, what do we got for battery strength? We're at 26% in this battery, and I've got 3 other batteries. There we go. And let's see what we got. Okay, there's the Hyades and Aldebaran at the bottom, and the Pleiades. Okay, coming back out. Alrighty.
Yeah, Drew took a new job with the FDA and NIH, and is there for a week of orientation.
Nice. That is so cool. I'm very happy that she did that. Alright, now I'm going to move a little bit. Yeah, let's see. Oh, thank you. Why did I move? Alright. Man, this has got to be maddening for people watching this. I just imagine they can't stand this. Oh yeah, look at that. It's crap. Alright. Alright. I'm not going to touch it. Wait, what happened? Doing it. Why is it doing, man? Why is it doing that? Ah, yeah. You know, I gotta figure out a foolproof way of getting the HDMI. This is HDMI out of the camera at 1080p into the PC. I'm not even touching the computer right now. I'm not touching the camera right now. It's just doing this on its own. I don't understand it. Wow. Yes, sirree. God, this is... You know, if people decide to just bug out, I wouldn't blame them. This is just maddening. I don't think I could watch this. Absolutely crazy.
Didn't you say something about getting another cable, or...?
Yeah, but I wanted to have, at least get a stable view.
I know. Well, I know.
And then I wanted to go in and grab the other cable. Alright, so... I cannot believe that. I don't know why it's doing that.
Hope there are no epileptics in the audience.
Yeah, right. Okay, that might... Oh. I figured out why it's doing it.
Why is it doing it?
It's doing this because of the fact that there's a connector that is connecting... that makes sense. A connector that goes between the... it's an adapter, to be an adapter. And actually, when I squeeze the adapter and move it all around, nothing's happening. Nothing goes bad. But as soon as I let go of that adapter, that happens. So now what that tells me is that I just have to make sure that this adapter is tightly connected. Alright, so that's this. Right? So nothing happens. I move it all around, nothing's happening. I let go and things happen. Sorry, let me just mess with this a little bit.
So you think the problem's the adapter, not the cables after all?
Well, yeah. So I just have to make sure that it's seated well. And that's it. Once it's seated well, it doesn't have a problem. Oh man. And I mean I'm literally moving it all around, doing things that I would dare not do. But it's fine. I can move it all around now, and it won't have any problems. See, to the observatory, go over there, you know, and nothing happens until I let go. And now, if I just leave it, it should be fine. And it has to do with how tight it's being held together. So, like that. See? Damn it. It's like, maybe if I just do this. Alright, well that won't work because I actually pulled it apart that time, so now I gotta put it back together. Alright, so let's see these people. You guys don't want to, you don't want this, deal with this garbage. I do know how to fix this, though. I do know how to fix this. I can fix this. Alright, so this. Crap, come on. Just don't fail. Oh, come on. Jesus, that's just making me, that's maddening. I can never, guys, if you want to bail, go right ahead. I'm going to keep trying, but this is just a pain in my butt, and I do not like it. I'm going to try and fix this and make it work. Why is it doing that? Alright, this has to be here. Oh, wait. Holy cow. This is possible? Oh my, this might work. Oh, this might work. I got an idea. Look out. Dangerous. When I have an idea, it's dangerous. Alright.
Daryl suggests tying a loose bow between the cable ends before attaching them together.
I actually have a clamp to do just that, and that's kind of what I'm sort of doing.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll take a picture of it and send it to you, Daryl, so you can see what I'm talking about. Won't do it right this second, but this, I think, will... Okay, that didn't work. Not yet. What the heck? Well... I just like oh, I pulled it out of the camera, that's why. That was bad. Alright. Alright. So now if I do this. This could make it functional for just allow me to put this on, but it's not letting me. Oh, okay. It's just not allowing me to do it. It keeps pulling out of the camera. That's why you didn't see it there. Hey, clouds, go away. Alright, my hands are getting frozen, so now I gotta... Oof. Yay, how much fun is this? Wow, we're having so much fun! I am, actually. I enjoy this stuff. Well, while we're here, might as well talk about the status of the observatory moving to Arizona. I managed to secure a temporary spot for the observatory in Arizona, and all I have to do is get it there. But before I do that, I'm actually going to get more software and systems to control the telescope that will be very useful and probably important. It's going to be a system to actually allow us to remotely operate the telescope from anywhere in the country. So I'll be able to log into the telescope. I'll be able to see what's going on. I'll be able to look at security cameras. I'll be able to do anything I need to see what's going on in the dome, outside the dome, on the property. And this will be a very good thing. So right now, that's kind of where it sits, and I've managed to secure the ability to do that, which is kind of cool. I'm very pleased about that. And it's going to be on the property of a scientist friend of mine who told me the other day when I was there. He said to me,
very cool.
Yeah, he says, oh, I've got all this acreage. I've got acres here, acres there. You can set it up wherever you want. So I'm like, ooh, that would be kind of cool. It's a very nice area too. There is a tiny bit of the light pollution from Phoenix that comes in and interferes, but other than that, it's really not that bad. Not bad at all. So I'm impressed with that, and I think that we can I can live with that. But I do want dark sky, and I have other sites in Arizona that I got to check out. I was staying west of Phoenix out in the Sonoran Desert. And the only thing I have to worry about at that site would be rattlesnakes. And maybe some Gila monsters, but they're, they're little few and far between. But if they latch onto you, that's a problem. So anyway, the rattlesnakes are actually good eating. I don't know if any of you have had rattlesnake, but it's actually quite tasty. I really like that meat. I can't believe how much I warmed up to rattlesnake meat. It's amazingly tasty. Pretty cool. Yes.
Well, I had a lovely veggie burger for dinner, so I'm interested in your snakes.
Sounds a lot better than sounds a lot better.
So anyway, Vicky is hoping, without messing everything up on the camera again, is there any way you can zoom in on the Pleiades for Vicky?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think we can do that. So I'll try it, and if it messes up, we can say Vicky's fault. So, okay, this is the Hyades, by the way, and now let's see if I can go up and look at the Pleiades without losing it.
I know, I'm so scared.
There it is. Let's see. Okay, now we kind of move it over a little bit.
I'm holding my breath every time you move it.
No, I mean, I know what's wrong now, so I can fix it instantly. It's just a viciously nasty thing. So here we go. Bam. Now this is the Pleiades, and if we want to look at this in a little more, did it just go? No. Okay. If you want to kind of look at this in color, you can see the colors of the stars when we take it out of focus a little bit. Very, very blue. And now we come back in focus, and of course you can see right when you're in focus. And if we increase the sensitivity a little bit, right, you can start to see the slight nebulous characteristics of this area, and it's not very easy to see. All right, and I'm actually going to bring it down a little bit. Bring it down to say 64,000. I'm actually going to come back out into my photo setup here, and I know it looks like that right now, but I'm going to actually take I'll take a photo that's going to guarantee we see star trails. Okay, we're going to actually see trailing, but I want to see if we'll actually see some of the actual nebulousness. So it'll be 8 seconds at 102,400, and it's going to be a streak. There's going to be little dashes for the stars. All right, but let's see what we got. Okay, so now if I know it's bright. If I just go into it now and we come back to it and look at it, it's bright.
I warned them. I said, watch your eyes.
I know, it's bright. I'm just trying to, see, maybe a little too much. I should have come down to say like 64,000 and then, let's say 6 seconds at 64,000. So we'll drop down to, several stops here. That's a little better.
We have another question coming in while you're doing that.
All right.
Jason from Massachusetts wants to know, do you have any advice on a camera to use for live streaming on a CPC 1100? I don't know what that is. A computer? Or?
Well, what's the I don't know what the CPC 1100 is. Unless we're talking about are we talking about a telescope?
I don't know.
All right.
I'll find out.
Yeah, just have him tell me what telescope we're looking at. It's a little out of focus here. Because I want to actually give him a proper answer, and I know that he I think that's a telescope actually. I hit the focus ring, unfortunately, when I did this before, so we got a little messed up. That's okay. I don't want to keep us up here too long. I want to go back to looking for...
It's a Celtron.
Celestron.
Yeah.
Celestron. Yeah, that's right. That's what I
thought. 11-inch.
Yeah, the 11-inch is a nice telescope. I actually had a 5, had an 8, and there's a 14, which a friend of mine has, and they're actually really nice telescopes. Celestrons are, like Meads, are kind of all the same in terms of the capability, and so you can actually get like a nice camera to stream on. There's a couple of nice telescope cameras from Orion telescopes, and they're in a red case, and they're actually fairly sensitive. You can also use a DSLR like I am, but the camera we use is several $1,000s, which is why we can, it basically turns night into day. And it's a Sony A7S II camera, and the more sensitivity you get with these cameras, the lower the megapixel rate, which is a function of how many pixels you have across and down on the camera sensor. The more you have, then the lower the sensitivity can be. My camera has a pixel value which is reasonable, but you only get, like I said, it's a 12.6 megapixel camera, and you only get you get the 409,000 sensitivity, ISO sensitivity, which of course is spectacular. But you also need a to have a system to fix any issues that you have with the camera. In other words, come on, stop this. You actually have a sensitivity issue with the camera that has to be dealt with because it makes noise. The more sensitive you have your settings at, you actually will have more noise, more grain, so to speak, in your image, and we got to get rid of that. And so that's why we actually will do our best to get rid of the noise in the image later on. So that's kind of unfortunate what we have to do. This is a really pretty night. I didn't think it was going to work out because of the clouds. There's still some clouds around, but I'm standing outside the observatory, so unfortunately I'm not getting warm. I'm not able to huddle with my huddle in the observatory. I'm kind of outside in a little bit of a breeze, so it's kind of cold. So
we also appreciate what you do for us.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look at the screen. It keeps bouncing, and that has to do with the fact that the camera's getting buffeted by a little wind. And I gotta fix this. This is maddening. I don't know how anyone can stand this. I don't know how anyone can stand this. It's making me nuts.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, but they can still hear you when it's jumping, and they're coming to hear what you have to say.
Oh, they're coming to see meteors, man.
Well, we haven't seen any yet, even with the camera stable, so...
That's true. Well, the truth is, they're going to show up a little bit after midnight, most likely. And what time we got now?
20 after 9 for you.
For me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know what? It's possible that the other cable will help this because the socket that I'm plugging into is on this cable. And it's really probably a problematic socket. I wonder if I just can squeeze it or something. I don't know. I mean, by squishing it with my hand, it actually it makes it work, and that's something that I don't think.
Is there any heat being generated? Could it keep your hand warm?
No, not in the slightest.
Oh, so you're not up to holding it for a while now?
No, it's not even slightly warm. It's actually cold. All right, so let's see. Where can I really hang this thing to keep it from becoming cold and thus less stable. Well, I see a way to do it, but it won't stay there, unfortunately. No, this doesn't want to stay there. Ay, ay, ay. Man alive, this is going to make me nuts. Oh, it's already making everybody nuts. I know it is. So I'm trying my best to get this resolved. I know how to fix it, but I didn't know it was a problem when I started tonight. That's the other issue. So let me do a little thing here that I just did, which is to...
Ooh, someone wants to know if the stream is 18 plus. I'm not sure what they're planning, but...
it's not 18 plus. So if you say something, our moderators are going to kick you right out. If you say something bad.
Unless it's funny.
Well, even if it's funny.
No, I shouldn't be promoting that kind of behavior. I'm sorry.
No, even if it's funny, we're not going to tolerate it. If it's going to be a comment that's profane. See, that's the thing. Our streams are not going to go down that path ever, because they have on occasion by accident, but they're not going to go down that path because this stream is a basically
family friendly.
Well, it's a family friendly stream, but it's also going to be an educational stream, And at some point, we're going to have some sponsors that are going to make it come to you with a higher quality. And sponsors aren't going to want to have that kind of stuff coming across, and being said. So, we're going to be dealing with that at some point. I want to expand this. I want to expand SkyTour LiveStream into a large network of telescopes. I've already got plans that I've drawn up to actually not have just one telescope, but have several, all in one big observatory, which has a roof that rolls right off the building. And you would have, say, 5, 6, 8 telescopes, each one of which you can log into over the internet and utilize yourself and take pictures of the night sky. Now, there's organizations that do that now. Okay, there are some of them. Like one of them is called SLOOH, SLOOH, and they're wonderful. And there's a telescope network that you can join. The trouble is, you're going to be paying $50, $100 a month to have telescope time, and it's really not. It's not conducive to. It's not conducive to being able to do it for a long period of time, unfortunately. Clearly, because you have so much, overhead and money. So what I want to do is I want to get grants and get some funding to actually do it, and in a way that wouldn't need to be passed on to the people. If we can do it, I mean, I want to make it a very popular location to go to. I already know how to build the telescope's mounts and connect them up to the internet. I already know how to do all the work that's needed. I just need to do it. And this Connecticut telescope is going to actually be the first in the remote series. And oh, look at that! Not if it keeps acting like this. And it's going to be the first in the remote series. And this will be a very good test bed. So. And the connections are the reason the connections are doing this is because these are dynamic connections. We're just like plugging in wires here. When you do it professionally, these cables are all bolted into each other. They're all screwed in, so they're not going to have any. You're not going to have any failures, cable failures like this. That would be like literally the last possible thing that could go wrong, because you would actually make sure that the cables are intact at all times. It's going to be 18 plus before you know it. All right, so
I see a plane slowly leaving.
Yeah, there is. I'm going to
scream.
No, I'm not going to scream. I'm actually going to go get the other cable, because I am not able to deal with this. It's just not good. Alright?
Well, I hope it's the cable that's the issue and not...
It's the cable, because when I squeeze the cable, I get my screen back. Alright? And I just do not... What is going on? Okay. Alright, I gotta put that in. Squeeze it, and it's fine. Move it around, it's fine. Let go. And
It's fine.
for now. But the cold,
just don't breathe.
See, the cold causes it to get loose. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go in, get the other cable. I'll come back, and I will make the change.
And grab some rubber bands while you're in there, too, just in case.
Yeah, I see, I've already lost it. Okay, yeah, just go ahead, bounce around like that. That's just fun. Oof. Well, hey, at least you can tell me if there's any meteors. But I'm gonna run inside. So if you can manage the chat, teach them some astronomy. I'll be right back. Okay?
Yeah. All right. Sure.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. And now you guys are stuck with me, and I got nothing. Yeah, so, well, I was glad that he could at least point out some things with his finger, for those of you that were here a little earlier. Kind of in the middle, a little bit right of center, is the Pleiades. And, oh my god, and I forget all the other things now. To the left of it is Auriga. That's the constellation.
I'm going to change the battery, so it is going to go dark for a second.
Okay. And then Capella is the goat herder, which is a little section. Okay, so is Capella an asterism then? Because I thought the constellation was the big picture, and then there were little sections of tinier things. Like, we have, like, Taurus the bull, right? But we have his shoulder, and we have his eye, and we have his horns, you know? Auriga. Okay, Auriga. Thank you, Daryl. The goat star. And the 3 kids, yes. And... yeah, the Hyades is underneath the Pleiades. An asterism is an unofficial star pattern. Okay. I'm trying, guys. And...
I'll be back.
oh my god! I'm running out of things to say, hurry. Run. Run, Mark, run. Auriga. Oh, accent on I. Auriga? Auriga? Auriga. It's Auriga. Okay, gotcha. Oh. Okay, I hope no one's epileptic, and I'm being sincere because strobing lights like that can cause seizures, so please watch with your own discretion. Mark's gone to get a cable, and hopefully that's the problem and not the actual socket adapter. Now, I don't think Andromeda is on the screen anymore. That was supposed to be at the top right. I heard a rumor that Orion will be rising soon. Not sure. See, by soon, I don't know what soon means. Does that mean in a couple of hours? Probably. Does it mean within 1 hour? I don't know. I'm trying to, thank you. How may we donate to Mark's equipment fund? I don't know. He doesn't have anything set up as of yet. I'll mention it to him when he gets back. I know. The blinking's driving me crazy too. Oh, we got some stability. I don't know if it's the wind, if it's just a loose cable inside. We're not really sure, but Mark's gone through several cables as of late. So I have a feeling it might be... Hi, Tana. I have a feeling it might be something other than the cables. Orion is just at the bottom of the field of view. But not the whole constellation, though. Just maybe... Okay, let's see. Orion. No, Orion is the hunter. So he would be on the opposite side of the sky as Scorpio? I'm trying to remember things because the Scorpion, in the legend, the Scorpion stung Orion. But Zeus didn't want Orion to die, so he separated them in the night sky. I think that's how that one goes, because... Okay, it's just the field of view. Okay. Okay, so I'm not missing it. That's good. I think I can figure out where the belt is, and then the rest of it I think I make up in my head. I don't know if I can actually see any constellations the way people do. I can see the dippers. But for most of them, if someone showed me, like, Gemini, like, the Castor and Pollux, the twins, I could see that, but, like, I can't see what the stars are that are supposed... Ooh! Shooter! Zone 3-ish. Corner Zone 3. Hold on. Zone 3. And I missed the time. 21, 29... I don't know, maybe 40? Maybe? Okay. Genghis, good. And again, remember the zones. The top left-hand corner is Zone 1. The top middle is Zone 2. The top right-hand corner is Zone 3. The bottom left-hand corner is Zone 4. The bottom middle is Zone 5. And the bottom right-hand corner is Zone 6. So I will try, because I'm watching on Mark's screen, so I'm seeing in real time. And I'll try to get them into the chat. Oh! Ooh! Zone 3, nice. I had kind of a, like, good... Okay, hold on. 2130.
Did you see that?
I saw 2, dude.
Wow. I go in, they come out. Hang
on. No, but don't worry back then if that's the case. That was beautiful. That had like green at the end, but like kind of a yellowy gold too. Sorry guys, the shooter's just... That's what I've been waiting for. And it's only, what, 9:30 where Mark is. So
Did you see that?
Did see that. A lot of people in chat saw it too, but I think we got some timestamps, so... I think it was 21:30, 25-ish.
Wow, I saw it.
I get so excited I forget to look at the time.
Holy cow, I mean, that was actually pretty bright crossing the screen right between the Pleiades and the Hyades. Did you see it?
I didn't see it near the Pleiades. I saw it, like,
to the right,
exiting to the right of Zone 3, yeah.
Holy cow.
I just finished explaining the zones because I saw one, and I remembered, wait, I'm watching in real time, so I put it in chat to try to get people to see it. And then I'm like, okay, let me explain the zones. I just finished, and another one, it was like between Zone 3 and 6 on the right.
Wow.
It's like right at the border of the grid, so hopefully... Oh man, I did so poorly. I pointed out a few things, I mispronounced a few things.
That's okay. I got the cable, but I'm not going to touch it until we start to see any kind of failures occurring. When I see a failure start to occur again, I mean, we
blinking a lot while you were gone, and then
it was.
Yeah, it was. But then it stabilized, and don't touch anything yet. Yeah.
Touching anything.
Nice. Oh, I'm so glad we got to see them.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think that's really good.
Good timing.
Holy cow. That was pretty cool. I didn't, what's funny is, I went in thinking, alright, well there won't be any meteors probably till midnight. Then you tell me you saw one, and now, as I actually saw it on my screen in the observatory. I didn't see it in the sky.
I was gonna ask you what it looked like going across the sky.
Well,
Like the real sky, not just our little...
Yeah.
That was so fun.
Yeah, that was cool. You never know what to expect. So we caught 2, is what you're saying.
Yes. And the other one was like less than a minute before and in the same section in zone 3.
Really? Alright.
Yep. So if the cable does mess up again and you are going to move it, well, I don't want to say move it to the right, but
move it to the right.
Well, they were both in zone 3, but I'm not sure where what meteor shower were we looking at? Did you say the Taurids?
Yeah.
Does that mean we should be looking at Taurus?
This is Taurus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, this is Taurus.
Okay. So you said we could see a shoulder. Is Taurus completely up though?
Not quite. We have a little more that still has to rise.
Oh, I got excited. That's a plane.
Yes.
That's a plane slowly going into zone 3.
Yeah.
And Laura wanted to know, while you were gone, do you have a way people can contribute to like an equipment fund?
I do not, actually.
She maybe think.
Well, clearly she's thinking of that. She's very smart. She's thinking of things all the time. Which is really good. I'm busy doing the work, and I'm not actually laying all those things out, which is. This is not it's a one-man operation, but that's when it comes to operating the telescope and doing the stream and education now. But down the road, it may not be. I can foresee having several observatories streaming with several people instructing, including myself. And it could be literally a one-stop shop for astronomy, live dynamic astronomy teaching. I think that's, something that it's just crazy good idea. It's not being done. Even when you look at these other places that have telescopes that you can log into and use as an individual, one of the things you can't do is you don't get, or you can't get is education about these things and what they are. There's so many things you can do with everything that's on the screen right now. And then nobody really gets a chance to do that because they're too busy taking the pictures or whatever. But when it comes to actually getting an idea of what's out there and what we're looking at and how it relates to us here on the planet, that's stuff that has to come later. You have to look it up on the internet. You have to look up, and hope it's not just like baloney, and so when you have it explained to you and when you have it dynamically presented like this, it's very very different, I should say. I mean, it's not a typical educational experience. You're with an astronomer in a dome live. I'm in the dome. The camera's outside the dome because we're doing meteors, but and we're doing it in this live fashion, which is really cool. Now, the other thing I could do is I could actually mount the camera on the telescope and from inside the dome and do this, and then move the camera to the other telescopes dynamically, or just have 3 cameras and just switch between the 3 to say, okay, here's the Pleiades from wide angle, boom, here's the Pleiades from close up, boom, here's the Pleiades from the wide angle refractor. That's the ultimate goal. And right now, that's just sort of icing on the cake, and not difficult to do, but it's stuff that we're that I can see happening in short order once I get the ability to do it. And I think it's really important to bring everybody with you on these journeys. When we look at the sky like this is a wide angle view, and we're used to seeing that. But if someone said, "Can I see the Pleiades again?" I basically should be just a click away or a switch away from saying, "Yeah, here's the Pleiades," And, you know, then another switch away from saying, and here's a close-up of the inside of the Pleiades. This is what we're looking at here. This is Alcyone. It's the central star. You see there's 4 stars around this one star that makes up this one star system. It's 4 stars in there. It's really complex gravitational motions going on inside this cluster, you know. And then you zoom back out to this, you know, to the scene we have here. So there's a lot of directions that we can go, you know. And I also want to tell you, by the way, it's a total non sequitur, which means it's not related at all to what I was just talking about. Well, that's for everybody else who may not know.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. In a non sequitur to all that, when I went in the house, I realized I looked at my sweatshirt that was in there, and it's a hooded sweatshirt with a liner, and I was like, why am I not wearing that? And I realized, in my haste to come out and get the stream going for all of you, I forgot to put on my my underlying garment to keep me warm. So I put it on, and I'm actually getting a little warmer on my body, but my feet are still cold, and I used wool socks today too. So I may end up trying to warm up a little here in a bit, but not to worry, because it's not going to be like I'm going to you know, abandon you. I do have a way to warm up in the dome, which is illegal to use, and basically it's a heater which can be used to take the dew off the telescope. We call those heaters blow dryers, and I have an old one out here that I can just turn on to heat my feet and get that out of the way if I need to. It's the only part of me that's now cold, and so I'm probably going to have to do that at some point. And we'll see. I don't have to do it yet. I can still feel my feet.
And Jag is saying we missed one at 21:30 even.
Really?
In Zone 3. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It was about 10 minutes ago, so I don't know.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you guys. No, I so appreciate everyone putting timestamps, because I just get so excited. I stop thinking for a second. All I can think of is, ooh, what a pretty bright color, you know? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to get the timestamp. So I'm already 10 seconds behind before I even look at the clock, you know? Yeah. So I just kind of guess.
I know that's
probably isn't good. Yeah.
Go down a little bit here.
Oh, 21:39, he says. He's off a little.
Okay.
21:39. Okay, thank you, Jag. And welcome.
I'm glad that people are actually helping us out with this. This is a community effort, you know?
And that's the thing, like, one, I'm keeping my eye on chat rather than the screen for the most part. It's usually, they have to be big enough to get my attention out of the corner of my eye, basically.
Yeah.
And my eyesight sucks, so that's why I was just, when you were getting back, I was just saying, like, since I'm watching live on your screen, I will do my best to put in at least the zone for people to have a chance. And that was a brilliant idea we came up with, that section them off, because if you just say shooter, you know,
you don't know where to look.
Exactly. So for people with bad eyesight, or the fainter, quicker ones, at least you have a better shot of seeing them.
Sure. Exactly.
And Melissa, that's a great question.
What's that?
Do the constellations tell a story? Yes, they do.
And we actually did a SkyTour radio show on kgraradio.com that talked about some of these stories, didn't we, Amanda?
Yes, and I know I took the lead on one of them, the mythology behind some of the planets.
And I'm okay with you taking the lead now if you'd like to go ahead and tell some folks about that. I mean, we've got Taurus here, but to the left we have, let's see.
Well, I focused on the planets last time. I don't really know. Oh, I told them that. That's when you were gone. I told them about the goat herder.
Oh, you told them about Auriga? Okay.
Auriga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to call it Auriga.
That's how I was pronouncing it. We just went through this when you were gone.
Oh, did you?
Yes. I mispronounced it too, so Daryl spelled it phonetically for me.
Oh, that's okay. I think that's
Not
great.
not
Thanks, Daryl.
phonetically. What's the other word where you just broke it down like they do in the dictionary?
No, I
Like
get it.
the
He
emphasis is,
basically,
yeah.
yeah, he basically broke it down into syllables, and
What do you call doing that? What is that word to break it down into syllables?
breaking it
Because
down into
phonetically
syllables.
is writing it how it sounds as opposed to how it's really spelled.
Yeah.
Like cat with a K.
What's that?
Like if you're gonna spell cat with a K, because it's a k.
Oh.
Never mind. Never mind. We're going so far off topic. Anyway,
No, it's
so
okay.
you tell us a story.
Well, I mean, the one that I like to tell has to do with what we're seeing on screen here. Aldebaran, that red star below the Pleiades, just in the lower left part of the V shape of the Hyades cluster, and that's Hyades, Hyades. That Aldebaran is an interesting star, but it has nothing to do with the Hyades. It's just in the line of sight as the Hyades. It's nowhere near the Hyades, actually. And the Hyades themselves is an interesting cluster because using that cluster, we were able to create what's called a standard candle, or it became a standard candle, because the clusters of stars tend to be moving around the galaxy, as all stars orbit the galaxy, together. And so using that movement of the clusters, we can examine that movement, and we can actually figure out how far the cluster is away from us. And that provides us with a method called the moving cluster method. And the Hyades has been used before as one of those clusters that's used as a standard candle from which we can measure other clusters. And if you basically, what happens is all clusters of stars tend to be younger stars. That means that they're all doing hydrogen to helium fusion. And that means in our diagram of the stars, when Amanda talks about the O, B, A, F, G, K, M along the bottom, and on the left we have the brightness of the stars, or the luminosity, their intrinsic brightness. That particular that's a plane, right? That's kind of interesting. Is that a plane or a satellite? I can't tell.
I don't know. It looks green.
It does. It's probably a plane, but I'm gonna look. I'm just stopping my story for 1 second to look out. Where are we looking?
Just going through Taurus.
Oh yeah, it's a plane. It's blinking. Sorry. Okay. So as I said, all those young stars in the cluster will be fusing hydrogen into helium. Sorry. And when they do that, that means that they're going to be on something called the main sequence, or in a place we know on the diagram we create of the colors of the stars along the bottom, or the O, B, A, F, G, K, M, and the brightness along the left. Now, when you plot a cluster of stars at some distance away on that diagram, and you compare it to a known cluster like this one just below the Pleiades, the Hyades, okay, you'll see that there's actually a difference in vertical placement on that diagram. That difference in vertical placement gives us another value that we can use to calculate how far away the cluster is. Because we know how far away the Hyades cluster is, all right? And by putting another cluster and plotting it on the diagram and seeing where it is separated vertically, that can tell us the distance to that cluster. That's called that's the cluster method. And this is something, I've done this in astronomy in the past. It's actually an exercise that's used to get students in touch with this particular method of trying to determine the distance to a cluster of stars. And the nice thing is it'll work for any cluster of stars that are all young stars on this main sequence, or hydrogen to helium fusion path. And that's something that we have has formed one of the fundamental standard candles, or standard distance finder. The other is, of course, when you look at stars that vary in their brightness, those are called variables. And among those stars are stars called Cepheid Variables, named for a star in Cepheid, which is actually near Cassiopeia.
The whale?
Which,
it's the whale that was...
That's Cetus. This is Cepheus. King Cepheus.
Oh. Aw, Daryl's gonna kill me.
Nice try, though. That was good. Good try. I like the valiant effort.
No, because Cassiopeia is the queen who's married to Cepheus.
Yeah.
And then, but the whale, I was thinking the whale coming to get Andromeda.
Oh, that's okay.
Wrong story. Wrong section of this family tree.
That's okay. Well, the variable stars that are called Cepheid Variables, named after the progenitor, or the original star, which is in Cepheus. This variable has an interesting property, and it has to do with that brightness versus color chart that we talked about. It's called the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram, the OBAF GKM along the bottom and the brightness along the left, in a vertical axis. And that is that these stars vary in brightness in a very specific way, depending on what brightness they have. Intrinsic brightness, that is what would appear on the left side of the chart we're talking about, in the vertical axis. And if it, say, varies by 6 days, we know what that brightness is for that star, what the intrinsic brightness would be for that star. This is a property that these variables will show us and have shown us for decades. So that means that if the apparent brightness of the star in the sky is, say, like 10, but the absolute or real actual brightness, intrinsic brightness of the star is, say, 3, that difference between 3 and 10 tells us the value that we need to find the distance to that particular variable star. Now, this works to find distance at very, very, very long distances. For instance, we can look in other galaxies for these Cepheid variables. And when we confirm that they're Cepheid variables, we can then look at their brightness and how it changes periodically. And based on that, we get the distance to the galaxy because the star is in that galaxy. Now, this is called the Period-Luminosity Relationship, and it has to do with these Cepheid, or these are very special variable stars that vary in precisely the same way across the board, depending on what they are. So that said, Cepheid variables are another distance candle that we use, so we have the moving cluster method, like the Hyades has shown us. We actually have the Cepheid variables, which is really good for longer distances. And for very small distances within our solar system, we actually use radar arrays. I mean, the Goldstone radar antenna has actually seen the shapes of asteroids in our near-Earth asteroids. So it's really cool. And it's it can see those because of the fact that we're looking at objects that these are very real solid-sized objects, but the radar array can actually resolve or show the shapes of these objects based on their reflectivity of radar beams. So the images are only as good as the quality of the radar beam we send, and the Goldstone antenna is a very, very good quality radar. So radar also functions to show us things nearby. Okay, so for extreme distances where we can't really detect Cepheid variables, or if we could, we need something to also double check us. We use something called the Redshift, and this comes from a law called the Hubble law. And we found that galaxies at great distances have great redshifts. What's a redshift? Well,
does that have something to do with the Doppler effect?
Yes, it does.
Yay!
When something is coming toward us at high speed, the light from it is shifted toward the blue end of the spectrum. And when something is heading away from us at high speed, the light is shifted toward the red end of the spectrum. We see that galaxies farther away from us are receding or running away from us at faster rates. And this means we're looking at a redshift as it's going away from us. Now, the redshift value is, again, very specific for very specific galaxies, and if they're moving away from us at a certain rate of speed, then it means that we are going to have a galaxy that's a farther distance with a higher redshift. And that's something that Edwin P. Hubble had discovered, and that's actually one of his most famous discoveries, besides categorizing the different types of galaxies. Elliptical galaxies, spiral galaxies, barred spirals, irregular and dwarf galaxies, stuff like that. So, again, looking out in the universe like we are right this very second, dynamically live on the screen, we are seeing the universe at various different times anyway. So it matters, we have the fact that the stars are not going to stay in the configuration that we see them in for very long, from an astronomical, cosmological point of view. But they're also, as they move around the galaxy, they're going to move away from each other or closer to each other. The Pleiades stars certainly didn't look like that 1 million years ago, or maybe 2 million years ago. They were actually, the configuration was different from what we see today. The Hyades was different from what we see today. This is just the snapshot in time for what it looks like right now. But as we speak, they're all moving. Everything you see on that screen is moving, some at a very high rate of speed. But you can't tell because it's so far away. And so only over long periods of time would we actually be able to detect that movement. And that's the whole nature of the universe. And that long period of time is way longer than we have on Earth. So very, 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 very difficult to actually see movement. Although we do measure the movement of the stars in the sky, and that movement is called a proper motion, and that's the movement of a single star. They will move in a single direction, perhaps, and the proper motion of a particular star might be one direction or the other, and we can figure that direction out, and then we list it. Okay, its proper motion is this, and that's the proper motion that we measure at this moment in time. Now, if it's got any kind of interaction with another star nearby, well, then that motion will change, because it's going to be pulled by another star, perhaps, and maybe the direction will change slightly as it starts to curve around another star from its gravity. So those proper motions get changed every so often, but only with the fastest stars. One of the stars that's moving the fastest in our sky is my quiz question for tonight for you. Do you know the name? And I'll give you a clue. It's got 7 letters and begins with a B.
Okay, while we work on that, can you fix your mic? People are saying it sounds like you're talking through a fan, or it sounds watery.
Really?
I don't hear it, but some people in chat are saying.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I've got nothing with my mic that's indicating a problem. It always seems like I go off on a little discussion and something goes wrong. But I'm not touching the camera anymore. But I'll have to go listen back later, because right now I don't actually have any issues with my mic. Although I'll shut it off and turn it on. Okay, I shut it off and I turned it on. I don't know if that's going to make any difference, but that's what I did.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
We have a guess.
Okay, I want to hear it. Wait. First of all, who guessed?
Terry guessed.
Oh,
Terry Groff.
Terry
Welcome
Groff.
to chat.
Terry, are you here? Dude, Terry Groff is here. Terry Groff is in the house. I actually went to a sushi restaurant with Terry down in Dallas when I was shooting a National Geographic special, and I actually asked Terry if he could help me on the special. I wanted him to be involved. And he came on board, and it was so much fun. And we had sushi later. That was a lot of fun, Terry. All right, what's Terry's guess?
We have some other questions coming in, so I'm just getting them down in chat. He guesses Barnard's star.
He is absolutely correct. Very good,
Woo-hoo!
Terry. It's Barnard's star. That's right. It has such a high proper motion that you could go back and photograph it 6 months from now, and you'll see that it has moved against the other stars in the sky. Barnard Star. Wow. Actually, so good to have you around, Terry. Terry's been with MUFON for many years.
The MUFON friend.
Yeah, he's been instrumental in helping me many times within MUFON. Very valuable guy, man, and a lot to offer. So it's really good to see him here. I can't look at the chat, Terry, so I'm not able to see that you were here. I apologize for that, because in the observatory I have my one red light on. I used to have an inset camera where you'd see what's going on in here, but it's in the house. I haven't re-implemented it only because I was concerned with getting the camera straightened out. And now that it's straightened out, I'll probably bring that back. Anyway, so again, great to see you here, Terry. You had other questions, you said?
Yes. Well, okay, I'm going to do these out of order. Okay. Sorry, guys. When you were talking about the redshift, Genghis wants to know, does using a larger lens or scope have any effect on that shift?
No, the redshift is an intrinsic property of a receding galaxy. So you wouldn't, and receding meaning a galaxy going away from us, and it's nothing that you would have affected by the telescope you're looking at. Your only issue would be is if your telescope can measure that redshift accurately. So it doesn't matter. It's sort of an intrinsic property of something that's receding with what we call this recessional velocity, or the speed running away. So telescope has nothing to do with that.
Okay, thank you. And I know Daryl's a patient guy, so I'm going to go to Laura's question first.
How do you know he's patient? He's probably sitting there going, "You, Amanda, what's wrong with you?" But go ahead.
Come on, Daryl. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
He's fine.
Laura wants to, well, because I don't know what his question means, so I might have some questions as you explain.
Sure.
So I'm going to go to Laura's because it's a little more specific. She wants to know, is movement one of the measurements in discovery of exoplanets?
Absolutely, actually, Laura. That's very, very insightful, because when you look at the data that tells us that there's exoplanets around a star, we know that because there was movement of the planet across the face of the star, which caused the starlight to dim ever so slightly. That ever so slight dimming creates this resultant light curve, where we see a little dimming, and then it stays low for a while, then comes back up as the planet leaves the front face of the star is seen from here, and that's called the transit, where it crosses in front. We've seen transits here on Earth where actually in a solar eclipse, when the moon passes in front of the sun, that's a transit. It just takes a while, right? And when planets cross in front of their star, it can take a fairly long while, anywhere from a few hours to several days, to cross the face of the sun, of their star. So that light curve that's created by that slight dimming is directly related to the motion of the planet, and that motion can be calculated from the time it takes for that planet to cross the face of its star. From here, it's just the time of the dimming, how long it takes for the dimming to occur and when it starts to come back. In the end, we're just looking at data. We've never seen an exoplanet directly, except by very few that we've direct imaged and seen with infrared light, like an excess of infrared light. So it's really impressive, and that was very insightful to talk about the motion. Very good.
Okay, and Daryl wants to retract his question, but I still want to hear it. But I'm going to go to John's first.
Why did he want to retract his question?
It goes beyond the scope of the conversation, apparently, which intrigues me even more.
Daryl.
Anyway, hold on.
Okay.
John has a question.
Go ahead.
Are distant galaxies receding faster than the speed of light?
No, and that's an interesting factoid. Recessional velocities are fast, but they're not faster than light. That's an interesting question, because that was once a question: can they do so? And people and researchers often wondered whether a galaxy could do that, but they can't, and because we don't see anything that moves faster than the speed of light. not really. If we did, then they would be something that was circumventing that universal speed limit. And we don't actually have anything that can circumvent that natural speed limit within our X, Y, and Z that's all moving through time, our 4 dimensions.
Very cool. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I think everyone stopped typing questions because they all want me to get to Daryl's.
Okay. What was Daryl's question he thinks is outside the scope?
He's saying no. Oh, come on. He wants to know about simultaneity.
Simultaneity?
Yes.
In what regard, Daryl?
I don't know. I think that's where the redshift comes in.
Simultaneity of redshift?
Oh, I don't know. He just said ask Mark about simultaneity. Simultaneity.
Say Massachusetts.
Why? you spelled it out, like, not phonetically, but that other word.
I taught you how to say Massachusetts one time.
It was Massachusetts.
Yes. Being from Canada, I can understand how you're not familiar with our names. Well...
Oh my god.
I know.
I just went back to chat.
I just kind of went... I kind of bad of me to do that to you. Hope I didn't embarrass you there. I wasn't trying to.
No, oh my god, no.
Good.
Massachusetts.
Oh.
Massachusetts. Yes?
Massachusetts, yeah. And it's definitely not it's not an easy thing, okay?
Well, it's better than asking me to say about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Notice how I said about and not a boot?
Yeah, you didn't say a boot. Terrence and Phillips say a boot.
Yes.
And of course they've given you a really bad name. So anyway, back to simultaneity. Simultaneity obviously is based on the word simultaneous, and there's a reason for that. Okay, when you have 2 events that are occurring, all right, if they're happening from, say, your point of view, okay, and they're happening at the same time, all right, it's in terms of boy, how do I say this in a way that's actually sensible?
I don't know. When I read it, I thought maybe it was going to have something to do with, like,
I get it.
multiple galaxies, or multiple
actually,
worlds.
Multiple galaxies only if you're viewing the events from multiple galaxies. It actually has to do with the fact... Here's what simultaneity is. When you have 2 events that occur, all right, from your reference frame, they look like they're occurring at the same time. But from another place, we call those reference frames, another location, they don't have to be occurring at the same time. And that has to do with, it's Einstein's theory of relativity. And it means that simultaneity of an observation is not going to be the same everywhere you view the events. All right? So what is happening at the same time in one frame of reference, or one location that you're viewing it from, won't necessarily be the same elsewhere. And that's kind of what simultaneity is, and it's sort of an esoteric, relativistic type of thing to go through. But honestly, it's something that is important when you actually are studying events in a astrophysical scale, because clearly the way we see the events is tempered by how fast, for instance, light speed goes. 186,282 miles per second. And so if it happens, if we look at something from here and it's moving, say, and we see 2 objects moving at the same time doing the same thing, if you're in another location far, far away looking at this, maybe, and you can look at it this way, maybe you're seeing the event, one event happen before another. And that can happen. And the best way to think about this is if you look at if we look out from the Earth, say at Jupiter and Saturn, and we see a comet hit Jupiter and Saturn at what looks like the same time from us, well, the light from Saturn takes longer to get here, okay, than it does from Jupiter. So the comet would have hit Saturn earlier, and the light from it would reach Jupiter, okay, and then the comet would hit Jupiter, and then those light trains together would come to us. And so we would see those two events happening at the same time here on Earth, all right? But they would have happened at two different times if you're out there looking at the planets. Does that make sense to you?
That makes sense to me.
Okay. So
I hope
that's how the principle, that's a way to explain the principle that kind of shows why things happen at different times.
Okay, no, I get that. I get that. That makes sense from Jupiter to Saturn and everything. Like,
right. It would have happened at Saturn at an earlier time, and that light would have reached Jupiter at let's say at the exact same time something hit Jupiter. Now, that light train, those two light trains, had those events, and it would reach us at the same time, but the events wouldn't have happened at the same time. See?
Yeah, I get that.
All right. Well, that's kind of where this is going. That's actually a pretty view on the screen. Look at that. Anyway.
Is there more to this theory, though, or is that it? Because Daryl's just saying, I thought it had something to do with different gravity wells from a relative. Dude, I can't talk tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You're trying to say relativistic. Well, yeah,
yes,
what he's referring to is the other side of this, which I didn't go into, and that is that gravity affects light. Gravity can retard the speed of light or alter the direction that light is moving. So we can actually see that we can actually watch, for instance, an event occur that looks like it's in our reference frame, that is our location viewing it, is happening at the same time, but it might have actually been a combination of the gravity of, say, a local star that's pulling on an object, and the other event that might be occurring at the same time may not have occurred at the same time, but because of the retarding of the light, we would see it at the same time. That's kind of a the whole point is it has to do with this a fact that and this is really hard to explain, at this level, because you have to go into reference frames, whether they're moving or not, and there's a whole lot here that is really kind of it makes it hard, because you have to have a whole bunch of previous data and previous understanding to kind of fully answer it. So in a sense, Daryl's question is sort of something that we should actually, we can probably make a whole radio show about simultaneity, actually.
Like Sunday?
But to make it interesting would be a kind of a difficult thing, because it's really not, it's more of a puzzler, because it stretches your mind, and a lot of things, in relativity don't make sense. It's hard to understand, for instance, how two twin brothers could be here on Earth, and one goes to Alpha Centauri at nearly the speed of light, and for him it'll take him 4 years, just over 4 years to get there. If it's just under the speed of light, it might take him 6 years to get there. And when he came back 6 years later, say he went there and just turned around and came back, for him 12 years has elapsed. However, on the Earth, tens of thousands of years has gone by. His twin brother, has long since aged and died. So, this is
tens of thousands.
Yeah, it's because, see, those are the conundrums we face with relativity, and that's another problem. It's called the twin paradox, and you should look it up if you want to actually see.
Some of those things don't even make any sense.
Oh, I know, but that's the way. That's
like Schrodinger's cat. That never made sense to me.
Why?
Well, okay, we're gonna get, no, never mind. Don't worry about it.
Schrodinger never liking cats, I mean, that's one thing, right? That's a joke.
No, but the whole...
That's a joke.
Yeah, the whole. Never mind. We'll get so far off course. Don't worry about it. No, and Daryl's saying that's why he asked me to withdraw the question, but no, I like things like that.
Yeah, no, they're really cool. And now, by the way,
I get the concept that
yeah,
because things are further away, it takes time to get to the second point, like Jupiter. No, I followed what you meant.
Yeah, and that's just trying to point out a tenet of simultaneity, but not actually how simultaneity works. I'm trying to point out how events viewed here that look identical in time are actually possibly different in time, and that's the first part of it. Then there's a whole lot more to go into, especially when you talk about the gravity of a large planet versus a star, and there's a lot that goes on there. To actually go through it would actually require, like I said, an entire I don't even think a single hour of SkyTour radio can even cover it. There's a lot to it. There's so much preliminary stuff to know before you go down that path. You see what I mean? Yeah.
Sorry, we have a few more questions coming in.
Sure.
And they're kind of going back to Redshift, kind of. Some of them.
All right.
Okay, the first up is David Schmidt, our good friend, our good teacher in Thailand.
Yep.
He wants to know... Okay, hold on a second. Okay, there's no beginning to this question because it's so far back. He was responding to something you said, and I'm going to try to figure out what it is as I tell the question. Okay. If they're seen from a relative frame as occurring at different times, does that have to do with the light traveling different distances to the frame? Like different sides of a triangle? So is that what you were getting at with the two different planets?
Yeah, that was actually illustrating how events that look like they're happening at the same time can actually have happened at different times, but to us they appear to have happened at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I think if I understand you right, that yes, that's correct.
Yes. Okay.
That's what that was really for. And again, that's not trying to explain the concept of simultaneity, but just trying to explain the preliminary understanding of events that seem like they're absolute don't necessarily mean they are absolute. That is, in their timing. So that's part of simultaneity. And then I basically chose to trail off with the rest because it's really far more dense and it's going to be a little more difficult to understand. So I'd rather kind of wait.
Well, you know what? I mean, honestly, and I hate to say it even now, I am picking up more than I knew before. Way more.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yes, I do get down on myself because I feel like I should be picking up more, but you know what? In reality, it is a lot, and I'm doing all right.
Sure.
I'm gonna try to step up my game constantly. Obviously, ooh, shooter, zone 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Pretty sure.
I missed it.
2216. I don't know. Maybe 28. Maybe someone can. Okay.
No.
I think it was a shooter. I thought maybe someone can confirm that for me.
All right.
But okay, that was a moth.
A moth?
No, not what I saw. But something else just went by, and it looked like a little. It looked like a little something. I don't know.
Okay.
Just sometimes some of the concepts you get into.
Yeah.
Like a few lines in, I'm pretty much lost. So why not try me at some of the really hard, dense, difficult stuff? Because then at least I can say, stop, what is that word that I've never heard before? Or what does that term mean? And then you'll at least know where to build, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get it tonight, I'm sure, but don't hold back.
But it's
if Daryl thinks it's worth bringing up, then chances are it's going to be something that's going to pique my interest, right?
I'm sure
He does.
it will.
He knows me pretty well now, and
I think so.
you know.
I think so. So we saw that. I got my interest is peaked on something else right now.
Okay. Well, we do still have some more questions too, so
Okay, go
tell
for
me
it.
when you can focus. Yeah. Okay.
I can listen as I do 5 other things. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but will the question ever be answered?
Well, I didn't say that, but
No, I know.
But go for it. Let me hear it.
Okay. John wants to know.
Yep.
If two objects are moving in opposite directions, can the cumulative speed be faster than light?
Well, see, this is where you have to understand what are called reference frames. The answer is no. Because I always have a paradox that I like to bring up, which is you're on a spaceship traveling at 99.999% the speed of light, okay? And you point a flashlight out in front of your spaceship and turn it on. Didn't you just go almost 2 times the speed of light with that, considering the light? And the answer is no, you don't. And
what? Say the last part again. You turn on the flashlight and what?
Aim it
Don't
out,
you go?
Aim it out
Yeah.
in front of you. Does that light leave your spaceship? Because it's already traveling 99.999% speed of light. Does your light travel at the speed of light plus 99.999?
No. Why would it?
Well, for the same reason that you're driving a car down the highway and you're driving at 60 miles an hour and you lean out the window and you throw a ball bearing ahead of your car at 10 miles an hour. That ball bearing is moving at 70 miles an hour, isn't it? It's moving at the 60 that the car is moving just because you're holding it in your hand, but then you throw it forward at 10 miles an hour and it's going to be moving 60 plus 10 miles an hour, so it'll go to 70, right?
No.
Yes, actually. It's not going to be moving 10 miles an hour because
see, that's what I would have said.
No, see, it's you're holding it in your hand.
Because you're throwing it out of the car, so it's leaving your hand. It's not leaving a 60-mile-an-hour car. It's leaving your still hand until you throw it forward.
Now that's very interesting because you're sort of wrongly on the crux of how reference frames work in relativity, but that thought, the way you're thinking, is not correct. If you have a car moving 60 miles an hour down the road, you in the car are moving 60 miles an hour. Anything you're holding is moving 60 miles an hour before you even let go of it, right? Correct?
Well, what if you just put your hand out the window and dropped it? You just opened your hand and dropped it. Then what? It's going from 60 to 0?
No, if you drop it out of the car, it's going to hit the highway. Is it going to stop or is it going to roll?
It'll roll, but not at 60 miles an hour.
No. As it rolls, it's going to be rolling at what speed initially? When it hits the pavement and starts rolling, what speed is it going to be moving?
I don't know. I still want to say less than 60, and this is why I don't get math.
Well, it's actually going to be.
Because it would be technically it would probably bounce first.
Okay, let's pretend that we're not talking about bouncy. Okay, I get the point. But I want let's consider that if you have...
That's what math teachers always wanted me to do. Forget about logic. What it would actually do, it would bounce and decrease in speed as it went backwards.
Well,
it wouldn't stay alongside of the car.
No, it wouldn't.
Going 60 miles an hour. That's what I'm talking about.
But you said
in real life
something very important. You said something very important. You said it wouldn't. It would go backwards.
Yes.
Now, what does backwards mean? Backwards means that it's slowing down from an initial speed that it had when it hit the road, even if it bounces. Yes. But the thing is, you dropped it out of a 60-mile-an-hour car. So technically, as it's falling, it's moving as fast as you are because it's falling straight down from your hand. Therefore, it's moving just as fast as you, at least for that time. All right, and pretend there's no air resistance. Okay, maybe
that's another thing. I'm talking in real terms.
Okay, well,
not in mathematical fantasy world.
Air resistance will slow it down a little bit, but its initial drop. Let's say you're holding it outside the window, in your 2 fingers, you're about to drop it. How fast is the ball bearing moving in that car moving 60 miles an hour down the road?
60 miles an hour.
That's right. And when you drop it, it starts.
Then
it
changes.
Don't talk. As you drop it, it goes from 60 to 59.99, 59.8, 59.6, 57, 56.
Yes.
Bounces on the road. That's a huge frictional stop. The thing bounces in the air a little bit and begins to slow down more. However, it was falling at nearly 60 miles an hour, and when it was held in your hands, it was moving at 60 miles an hour. And then the other factors served to slow it down. The friction of the air hitting it, the resistance. Yes. Then the road itself causing this frictional slap, which really takes the wind out of it. And then it bounces along the road. Now, if you were then to lean out the window at 60 miles an hour, and you're holding it at 60 miles an hour, the ball bearing's moving at 60 miles an hour. Now throw it forward of the car at 10 miles an hour. Okay? Now for that moment, it had 60 plus 10 miles an hour, so it's nearly 70 miles an hour. And considering wind resistance would slow it down a little bit, it's nearly moving 70 miles an hour, isn't it?
Okay, by that theory, for a fraction of a second, it might be close to 70. Okay.
Exactly.
I'll agree with you there. Okay. Okay.
Now
so now you're going in a spacecraft.
Right.
99.99% of the light of speed, and you turn the flashlight on. Speed of light, yeah.
Yeah, and now you turn the flashlight on, and the light leaves the flashlight at 186,282 miles per second, heading forward. And the ship is moving at 186,200 miles an hour, 200 miles per second, okay? So let's say it's nearly the speed of light, okay?
Okay.
How fast does the light leave the flashlight?
The light leaves the flashlight at the speed of light.
Correct. Now, that's where you stop right there.
Now, take a breath, okay?
From the point of view of the person flying the spacecraft, they look at the light, and they shine the light at the wall that's like, say, a few hundred feet, say, if it's a big spacecraft, a few hundred feet in front of them. As soon as they turn on the light hits the wall. Okay?
Okay.
Now, because the light seen from somebody watching the spaceship go by, you'd want to say, well, that light's moving at almost twice the speed of light. Because the spaceship was already moving at nearly the speed of light. And now the flashlight inside the spaceship, which is moving nearly the speed of light, is turned on. And now you have the speed of light of the spaceship plus the nearly speed of light of the spaceship plus the speed of light of the light leaving the flashlight as seen in the moving spacecraft. So technically, isn't that twice the speed of light? Or roughly, isn't that's the argument, see? But the answer is...
Wouldn't the light from the flashlight be just a fraction ahead of the spacecraft?
Well, no.
Wouldn't it be like 0.00.0001?
Well, no. This is the conundrum that people were facing. That what they were facing was that, and this is like what Einstein was able to show, and this is the part of relativity that makes people crazy. Okay, the light in the spacecraft leaves at the speed of light to the person in the spacecraft, and that's his reference frame. Okay, now to the other reference frame of somebody watching the spacecraft go by, the light doesn't leave the flashlight at the speed of light, because at nearly the speed of light, okay, that light, okay, there's what's called time dilation. The person in the spacecraft, if you wave at Earth going by it at nearly the speed of light, to you, you've just waved at the Earth and it goes by. But to someone watching you from the Earth in the window of the spacecraft, you're frozen in time. You're not even moving. And this is one of those problems with relativity that people have to figure out in their minds. It's really hard to figure out how relativity works.
Oh, I'm already going to drive chat crazy. I just know it, but... What?
She says.
Like... Okay, hold on. There's one part... Well, there's a lot of parts I didn't understand, but...
I can't believe that you're wanting to tackle relativity tonight, because, you know...
Why not? We're just waiting for some meteors.
I know. What's this?
Oh, did you do that on purpose?
No, actually, I think it was it could have been
to
the battery.
Deflate
actually.
me.
Could have been the battery. Let me just go check the battery. It just might be the battery, actually.
Okay, well, like, I mean, I'm not totally... I mean... Okay, are you saying there is a definitive answer to this? And you just told me the definitive answer, this is how it is? Or is this a theory? Have we proved this? We can't prove this.
Of course it has been proven, actually.
It has been proven?
Yeah, it's Einstein's theory of relativity. Accepted theory, you know? Okay,
and sorry to everyone in chat, I have not been paying attention to chat for the last 5 minutes. I've been staring at a screen, trying to hang. Okay, well, okay. So the person inside the spacecraft turns on a flashlight, and it goes at the speed of light. Out of the flashlight, right? Okay, I get that. Someone standing outside, what do they see when the person inside... Okay, say I'm inside, you're outside. I turn on the flashlight, what do you see? Nothing? Do you not see the light coming out of the flashlight at all, or is it in slow motion? Or is it just frozen midstream?
It's frozen, to me. Okay, you wouldn't
From
see
what
it.
point? Would it be a frozen beam of light? Would it be...
You're frozen in time.
I'm frozen.
Not even moving, yeah. That's the problem, see, with these reference frames. Okay?
I don't understand that. How can something be going almost the speed of light look like it's not moving? To you?
Well, it might
forget the flashlight, I just mean the spacecraft. How are you seeing the frozen spacecraft?
Because as the spacecraft goes by you, alright, there's actually this transform that occurs.
So you'd see it before and after, but at a certain frame.
If you notice, my screen is not working here.
I know, I figured you were working on it.
Yeah, I am. The camera's actually...
That's what my brain feels like. You finish the thing and it just shut off. And now I'm trying to get it back on. Again, I'm trying to realign the cords, the cables.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
There it went. Yeah, this is,
Okay, so...
Boy, this is failing now.
Oh, I have so many questions, and it's gonna go so wrong so fast.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm gonna try and do it while you're... I'm gonna try and fix this while we're doing all this, so...
Well, it's on now.
A bit of a problem. Oh, look, it's back.
It is, yeah.
Cool, I ain't touching it. Unless... What was happening was... Oh, man.
Your good friend, Terry, that you had the sushi with, he wants you to remind me that, time changes along with space. And Daryl mentioned the name, Petrie Beckman.
Okay.
But I don't think we wanna... Well, I mean, some of them... And this was always my problem in math. Like... and I think we've gone through this before, like, when they say, like, 5 minus negative 2 is 7. Well, you can't subtract something you don't have.
Oh, come
so,
on.
right there, you know, I know a minus and a negative sign equals a positive, but in the real world, that doesn't work. So...
Well...
Okay, like, what
I think that you would benefit from seeing this on what they call a number line, where you would actually see how positive and negative numbers work together.
Anything that helps me understand math. I've been to summer school. I've had tutors. I've tried. I've really tried. I've always wanted to understand math because it would just seriously open up so many more doors for me. I do. I don't hate math. I just don't understand it, and I want to. I don't understand how it can be the universal language when, to me, can't apply theories in the real world. It's just theory. You know what I mean? Not just theory. Just it's almost like, well, this is how it is, so just accept it. Well,
no, I understand that that's not easy to hear.
Not.
And
not for me, that I would want to know why.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely not a. It's definitely not a a really good thing to say. That accept it and just accept it and there you go. Because I needed to have things explained as well. So, for instance, on one of my physics exams, I had to, it was an oral exam where I had to explain, or develop actually, plasma theory on the board, for my final exam. And every time you asked a question that you needed help with, you'd lose an entire letter grade. So it was actually not very easy. Unfortunately, that's what happens. Physics is like that. Physics is all math. Physics is the syntax, that the universe lives within. Math is the language, So, being that math is the language the universe speaks, you can explain things about in the universe without diving too deeply into math, for sure. But you can't fully appreciate them unless you also understand the math as well. And that's just the unfortunate truth. And so, if you don't understand the math, you can still totally appreciate the universe. Like tonight.
Yeah.
You appreciate everything we're doing. You love what we're doing. This is great stuff. We talk about mathematical concepts in SkyTour Radio all the time. Yet, you don't ever hear an equation. And the reason is because I'm choosing to illustrate everything in different terms. I'm illustrating the universe in terms that...
I like your analogies.
Well,
you come up with really nice ways of explaining things.
Well, that's the mark of someone who's trying to help you understand in terms that you can understand, that you can better appreciate. Because, playing to someone's strengths is what I like to do. Trying to make them understand math isn't necessary. I don't have to make someone understand math for them to understand the universe. They can appreciate it if they actually can understand it. They can appreciate it better, but it's not necessary. You just appreciate it in a different way. That's all. And that's what I'm about with this when it comes to all this stuff. Anyway,
Can we go back to the spaceship?
Yeah.
For a second.
Sure.
Because for some reason, now that we're talking about it, I have heard this theory before.
Okay.
But I want to know at what point... Okay, again, me and the spaceship, you outside watching.
Uh-huh.
Forget the flashlight, just the spaceship.
Okay.
At what point can you not see the spaceship moving, and why? And where? And why?
You see the spaceship moving. You can see the spaceship going by you at like the speed of light or nearly the speed of light. But the occupants inside would be moving very, very slowly.
And look like they're frozen. Why?
Okay, that's part of relativity, and it has to do with the consequence of traveling at the speed of light and being viewed from a different reference frame or location other than the ship. And that consequence has to do with something called time dilation. And time dilation is a well understood phenomenon in relativity, and it has to do with any object moving at nearly the speed of light or at the speed of light will actually, sorry, I got a little shiver, will actually slow down relative to, or appear to slow down in the relative view of someone watching from a different reference frame. Now, it's definitely not the easiest thing to understand. It really isn't, but it is something that was observed basically by experimentation, and so this concept of relativity is something that I think is going to be our topic for Sunday, I'm thinking. because it's really got to be fully explained. I think a little better, and to try and do it without all the other stuff that needs to come into that needs to be explained here, I think is probably not fruitful. I'm not able to explain it without filling in a lot of the gaps. In other words.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, no, someone just said the stream was offline for them. No, it's all good.
Okay.
I just got nervous. Just buffering. Okay.
Yeah.
He's good too.
No, we actually have good stream health tonight. But I'm getting cold. How long have we been going?
When did we officially get going? A little after 8, I think. It is 10:30 for you. Okay,
so we did 2.5 hours so far.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So far, I like that attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would really... I kind of like this. Here's what I wish. I wish I could actually have this all up and running and leave it going, but attach through Skype in the, in the house. Actually, I don't know if I can do that. No, I can't do that. I'm trying to figure out a way to do the Skype ball being in the warm area.
You keep saying you're going to do that. I thought that was the whole point, but...
The whole point of what?
I don't know, having it all wired in so you could be inside in the winter.
Oh, I know. I'm still looking at that. I was actually getting some other hardware and stuff installed. I got that second 5-inch telescope on the side of the main scope now, and it's like really very effective. And I would like to just sort of maintain that, unfortunately. But
oh, shooter.
Where was it?
It was, hold on, it's zone 2. Shoot, I should have put that first. Zone 2. 22, 40.
Yeah, because you'll see it in a few seconds.
No, 39. I don't know what time it was. 50 maybe? I doubt it. I don't know. I suck at the time, guys. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. Did you see it, Mark? Yeah, you saw it.
No.
No?
I was
Oh,
walking around
listen.
The telescope and the pier blocked my view with the screen.
It wasn't major, but it was bright. It caught my eye, so that's what I mean. If they're big enough to catch my eye when I'm looking at chat or just zoned out, yeah.
And by the way, you said moth before?
Did I? Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
No moths. We don't have moths. It's practically winter. There's nothing flying. No insects.
Well, it looked like a little white moth. What else could it have been?
It wasn't a moth, I can tell you that. The temperature is like freezing right now. It's just no moth. Nope. Oh. So whatever it was, we'd have to go check it out. Maybe you saw a UFO. Until we identify which kind of strange insect that can handle the freezing cold was being seen. All right. Sorry about that red light.
Yes, I was just about to ask.
It's on my head, and I didn't turn it off. I looked at the camera, and now it's off. I am going to do this right now, which you cannot see. I'm going to get out of my controller here. I'm going to go to my utilities, enter, go up there. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
We do still have a few other questions. I'm very sorry that I distracted everyone with that.
Please,
I still want to know more about that, but if we're going to be talking about that Sunday. Is that our topic, time dilation?
No. Time dilation would take a long time and
there yet?
Not everybody would get it. So it's something that we have to fill in a lot of blanks for.
Because remember, I mean, in less than 3 months is going to be our 1-year anniversary for the show.
Really?
Yes. January 28th was the first episode of SkyTour Radio.
Oh, SkyTour Radio, not SkyTour LiveStream. No.
SkyTour radio.
Yep.
So I mean, I know there's still a ton to cover, and I'm not totally getting it either. Like, not all of it yet, but there's a lot of people in chat that already know a lot of this stuff and still have questions.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna have to start upping our game.
Well,
Getting into more community topics.
That's okay. I don't mind upping the game. I'm fine with that.
I'm so gonna regret this.
Why?
Well,
why are you gonna regret it? You're not gonna regret it. You're gonna do just fine. You're gonna do just fine.
Okay. Well, listen. Getting back to.
Don't say spaceship.
No.
Okay.
Unless no other questions come in after this. Maybe. Okay. Okay, no, we just asked that one. Amal wants to know.
Okay. Hi, Amal. How you doing? He actually was in here before last time. It was very nice to see him there. Go ahead.
Yeah, he frequents several chats, actually. He comes to KGRA as well every Sunday night.
That's really cool.
He wants to know, could we actually see Redshift with our moon, which is moving away from us ever slightly? Interesting question.
Yeah, the shift is probably not perceptible with the moon because it doesn't move that much away from us. It's a slightly elliptical orbit, but it wouldn't be that much. But I know that, for instance, stars that are orbiting each other, binary stars, they would shift and wobble in the sky, and that could be noticed. But it's not, the moon's movement is essentially circular. It's not quite, okay, there is a slight elliptical motion, but I don't believe that is a motion that we would detect as a Doppler shifted light. Now, so that said, that's not to say that it wouldn't shift, because it probably does, but it's ever so slight. And I'm not sure, and we'd have to actually, to study that, we'd actually have to study the spectrum of the moon, because the lines that we see in the moon's spectrum would appear to shift. But the problem is, the moon is only reflecting light. The moon is not actually generating light. It doesn't have a, it doesn't generate light. It's not a source of light. So the shift would be less perceptible looking at the moon in general. And it's not a really good answer because, the moon itself does have a slightly elliptical orbit. All right, but the reflection coming back to us would be shifted slightly. But as far as I know, no one's ever actually measured that. We put a reflector up on the moon to be able to tell how far away it is, for instance, at any one time. And that reflector was actually made in my university, where I got my degree. So, pretty cool stuff, but as far as I know, no one's ever done that study.
Okay. Sorry, I was just explaining the zones.
That's okay. I'm actually, my feet are getting very cold right now, so I may have to just go inside for a minute and warm my feet. I don't want to use the electricity out here because I'm afraid I might blow the fuse. Because I keep adding to the system, and I gotta figure out how much it can handle before I start putting this giant, this giant thing on there, this giant hairdryer kind of thing, or whatever. Ugh. Mm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you could always just leave your camera going right there,
Yeah,
and go in and watch this on YouTube with the rest of us and get your headset in the house.
Well, the problem is, though, that I can't connect Skype through OBS the same way that it is out here. I wouldn't be able to talk. Otherwise, I'd be doing that. See what I mean?
Well, what if...
What were you going to say?
See, no, I finished my thought. See, sometimes I go to say something, and then I think the rest of my thought, and I'm like, no, that wouldn't work, because it just caused another problem. I was going to say, why don't you just leave me connected on Skype with OBS, and then go inside and I'll call you on, like, I'll bring you into my Skype, but you still need a separate Skype, so... It wouldn't work, never mind. Just don't worry.
Yeah, you would have to... see, I haven't brought you into my Skype in the computer, in the observatory.
Yeah, I know, but you would have to get out of Skype on OBS to get on Skype in the house.
That's right.
Yeah, so it still wouldn't work. Because I wouldn't be connected to OBS.
That's right.
Yeah.
You would not be.
That's why. Anyway, back to the spaceship. I want to hear about time dilation. I really, really do.
Okay. Then I'm going to... I'm going to have to do this when I'm not so frozen. So I'm going to have to... I'm not going to be able to explain it tonight with my current level of freeze. My brain is frozen too, so it's a little cold. I mean, it's under 30 in my dome, and it's actually... the thing that's bothering me is actually not my arms and stuff. I managed to fix those by getting that... getting the sweatshirt put on underneath it, but I'm actually very cold on my feet. And unfortunately, that's the problem.
Terry wants to know what kind of camera you're using.
Terry, I'm using an A7S II camera, modified for astrophotography.
Or a scope, sorry.
My scope is I've got two. The one that we normally use is a Meade 10-inch LX200 GPS system, and the small telescope that we use on the side mounted to it is the 5-inch Richfield refractor, f4 speed. f4 is the f-stop. They always give you the f4, like your telephoto lenses can be, f2.8, f4, f5.6, f5.6, that kind of thing. But all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put the headphones down for a few minutes, go into the house, turn on the heat, and I will watch this on YouTube for about 5 minutes, and I will heat up my feet, and then I will come back out. All right?
Well, we've been going for almost 3 hours. If you want to call it quits, it's up to you.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I just want to give it a little longer.
So we have seen a few. Yeah, we have seen a few.
All right, but I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm just going to do this, and I will be in the chat. All right?
Oh, awesome.
All right?
Okay.
So I will see you guys in a few minutes. All right.
Mm-hmm. Wow, the sacrifices he makes for these views. And he's not even taking pictures tonight either. He was going to look at things like nebulas and stuff, but then clouds kind of started coming in, which I thought was going to make it a problem for watching meteors, but it cleared up, and he got his tripod and set up his camera outside, and here we are. We've seen a few tonight, so... Oh, I will move my little chat box out of the way so I can see the time. Ooh, I wonder. I don't know if Mark's at YouTube yet or not, if he got inside or not yet. I wonder, I could bring Daryl in. I kinda do. Because I don't even know what to say. Yeah. Mark, I'm gonna bring Daryl in for a few minutes. I'm sure he'll be cool with that. Let me find the button. Okay.
I haven't left yet. I noticed that I have to change the battery again.
Okay, while you're changing, can I bring Daryl in while you go inside?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Daryl, get your stuff together, please. Daryl, can you...
Alright, I'm gonna go change the battery and I'm heading inside. So it's gonna go black for a minute.
Will not call you, I will add you. No, well, I mean, I have nothing. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at. I just wanted to see shooters. Okay, I will. Give me one moment, please, chat. Ooh. Let me see if this goes through. One ringy dingy. Hello? Uh-oh. Daryl, you there?
Hello?
There
Can
you
you hear
are.
me?
Hello. I can now. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Let me
Nice.
mute here. Okay, can you hear me okay?
I do hear you.
Okay.
Chat, does everyone hear Daryl well? Make sure. Chat, can everyone hear Daryl?
Can you hear me, chat?
Well, everyone's excited that you're going to be on, so I just... okay, Kinga says you're good and clear. Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very
See,
good.
and Amal says, Daryl and Mark, what a great idea. Unfortunately, it's Daryl and Amanda. But you got Daryl. Mark's gone inside to warm up for a few, so
Yeah,
Daryl's going to fill in.
Looks like his camera died again, too. Okay, you want to talk about time dilation and all that stuff and reference frames?
Yay! Yes!
Okay, and see, I warned you that I wanted to retract that question about simultaneity because I know it would just make a real sticky kettle of fish, but here we are.
Well, I love things like this. Because,
okay.
I mean, I don't know.
If you read Einstein about relativity, Einstein wrote a book a long time ago where he tried to explain it in layman's terms. And there are other books on the subject. Einstein's classic frame of reference was being inside or being outside a railway carriage, okay? You're riding a train. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
And let's say you have a ball in your hand. Mark started this a while ago. You're sitting on the train, and let's say the windows are open, or the windows have curtain shades, okay? And the shades are up so you can look out the window. Now, you're holding a ball in your hand, and you're tossing that ball up and down. Can you see all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that ball, up to you, on your frame of reference, inside that railway carriage, that ball is going straight up and down. Okay?
Okay.
Now then, imagine you're standing on the deck of the railway station and that train is going by and your railway carriage goes by you standing outside looking, or somebody else standing outside looking, okay? Well, what they see, that ball is not going up and down. That ball is going from back to forward, plus up and down. There is a vertical component, up and down, plus there is a side-to-side component, which is that ball traveling along with you and the railway carriage down the tracks.
So it's like doing like backward circles?
Backward circle. Well, it's moving forward, you know, from back to front, the direction the train is moving, plus up and down. So the guy standing on this at the railway station sees that ball moving in a totally different set of motions than you do inside the carriage. Okay. Now then, I'm going to make it maybe a little more complicated.
Can I ask something first right here?
Sure, jump in.
Is this actually physically possible? This might be a stupid question, but can you actually do that? Like juggle a ball outside of a moving vehicle without it?
No, you're inside the vehicle. You're inside the carriage. And the guy standing at the train station just watches you go by. And that is possible. You're sitting on a nice seat in first class inside the railway carriage, tossing a ball up and down. From your point of view... I'm sorry? No? Say again?
Sorry, is your hand outside?
No, you're inside. But the curtains are up and people can look through the window. Okay. So you're sitting inside the carriage, tossing that ball straight up and down. Now that is your reference frame inside that railway carriage. The person standing on the deck at the railway station, that's his reference frame. Okay, from your point of view, well, you're sitting still, and if you look outside the window, you could just as validly say that guy is moving, not you. Does that make sense? Yes. Depending on your point of view, your reference frame. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I broke my train of thought. At some point, W13, that's a very good point. Is it a ball or a wave? Oh, God, how does it go? At one point, you close the curtain shades, and you're sitting inside. And I have clean forgotten what I was about to say. But we have two different reference frames in this example, okay? You inside and the guy on the deck at the station outside. Hi, Mark. You want your show back? I'll happily drop out.
He's inside right now.
Yes, I see that. Oh, I get it.
Yeah. I just wanted to make him feel welcome in chat. No, well, you were saying in chat that the faster something is moving outside, the slower it's moving inside, or something similar to that. No, I messed it up.
Oh, okay. Well, we can try that. Mark,
is that where you were going with your thought, or
eventually, I guess, or we can go ahead and tackle that. I said at one point, well, no, I'm not going to say that yet.
Okay, let's stick with the guy throwing the ball up and down. Okay, I understand what you mean. I'm in a carriage, I'm throwing the ball up and down to me. It's just going up and down. But to someone outside, they see it going up and down because I'm tossing it up and down. But because me inside the train is moving with the ball, the ball is also going, from left to right for the viewer.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm getting that.
That is the whole basic idea, as Einstein expressed it, as I understand it, of different reference frames, different points of view. He called them reference frames. Now, you could have a clock inside your railway carriage, or you could have a wristwatch or whatever, but let's say it was a long time ago, so there's a great big handsome clock up on the wall inside the railway carriage. To you, that clock is ticking once every second. It looks absolutely normal. Now then, depending on how fast that railway carriage is moving, if the guy standing on the deck at the train station sees that clock as you go by, that clock is going to be ticking slower than once a second. And the faster you in the train are going, the slower that clock is going to appear to tick to the guy standing outside in his reference frame, from his point of view. Now, this is all analogy, and it's going to get messy probably here sooner or later.
Okay, but this is all kind of theory because...
Well, as Mark would say, yes, scientifically it's a theory, but the vast majority of people say that relativity has been proven so many times that it's practically not a theory anymore.
Well, but it's just...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
No, it's just... Okay, if you're in the carriage going by, and I'm standing outside seeing the clock, it's not really that the seconds are going any slower. It's just I can't...
They are.
How are they? Just because to my vision? Because it passed so fast I didn't see it happen, or...
Are you inside or out? Are you the guy on the deck? Or
I'm outside. I'm outside.
Okay. Because it all depends on your point of view, your reference frame. Now, if that train is going 60 miles an hour, the difference between the clock's appearance inside the train and outside the train is vanishingly small. But let's turn that train into a commercial aircraft. Okay, all of a sudden now, if that guy standing outside on the tarmac at the airport, let's say, instead of the train station, could see that clock inside your airplane, well, it would be measurably slow. They can determine it that well, that from the guy outside's point of view, that clock is running slow.
Why?
You don't need to be going at the speed of light. It just is. It's because okay, I hate to say this because we're talking science and relativity here, but if you don't have the math, and probably even if you do, because this confuses the heck out of every freshman in physics class in high school or college, let's say it's an article of faith, okay? And let's just take it for granted right now.
See, and that was my whole frustration. That's what I was saying to Mark earlier. So many people say, just trust me, that's just the way it is.
I want to know the way
okay, what have they done to prove it to the point where we should just believe them? Like, is it just because if I'm standing outside looking at a clock in a plane, it's just going so fast that I'm not seeing that clock for long enough to see the seconds switch.
Yeah.
You know, but that's perception. That's just because I physically can't see the clock ticking by.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, see, this is what came up earlier when Mark talked about you dropping the ball out of the car. Out the car window.
I'm so glad you finished that sentence.
I'm sorry?
Not just me dropping the ball. Dropping the ball.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark was talking a thought experiment. Okay. Now, in a thought experiment, you do away with certain confusing or complicating factors just for the sake of simplicity. When you drop that ball out of your hand, which was sticking out of the car window, let's say there is no friction from the air going by your hand. Mm-hmm. Or let's say there's no wind resistance, in other words, okay? Mm-hmm. Just to help simplify things. That when you drop that ball, it's the very same as the scenarios we talked about a few minutes ago. From your point of view, with no wind resistance, that ball is going to go straight down. It's going to bounce right back up. From the point of view of a guy standing out on the side of the road, watching you go by and drop that ball is not moving straight up and down. That ball is moving sideways, plus a vertical component up and down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
In theory.
Well, okay. But
I know what you're saying. Take away everything else to simplify. Okay, I can hang there. Yes. Yeah.
That is the whole idea of a thought experiment. Okay. Now, at some point, because of where we are with math and newness and confuzzlement and all that stuff, you're going to have to take it as an article of faith at this time.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to...
Yes, I know.
Like...
I'm going to go to the most...
let's say I could, like, it was a see-through plane, and I could see the clock all the way.
Uh-huh.
Would that affect you saying time is going slower? I don't understand why just because I can't see the clock, it's going slower.
No, no, okay, that's a good example. It's Wonder Woman's plane, okay? It's
Okay.
a glass clear invisible airplane. So you can see that clock all the time as the plane passes you, okay? Uh, if you probably wouldn't notice it to the naked eye, but if you had measuring instruments of whatever sort you would need, you would be able to determine if that plane flew by you, let's say at the speed that your normal commercial airliner goes, you could determine that that clock is actually running slow from your point of view. Will you accept that?
Okay.
It's a
Why?
it's a thought. What?
Just hold on. I like when
Now,
my brain melts like this. And I was
yeah,
looking for a
well,
laugh tonight, and it's just,
yeah.
it's so crazy, and it's so hard to grasp your
I'm glad
mind
you're
around.
having a good time.
I am. I'm sorry if you're ripping your hair out. I'm sorry.
No, I don't have any hair left to rip. Okay, I want to go back to something I think Mark was saying earlier, that imagine you're on a spaceship and you're traveling at a significant fraction of the speed of light. Now, and your twin brother back on Earth, okay? Well, you start your clocks running at the exact same moment that you leave the Earth, and to make things simple, let's say you're immediately going whatever this considerable fraction of the speed of light is. Time to you passes at a certain rate. Well, you flew to Alpha Centauri. You immediately turned around and came back. And I couldn't tell you offhand what this fraction of the speed of light is, but let's say 10 years appeared to pass on your clock in the spaceship. Okay, you get back to Earth, and your brother has been dead for 10,000 years. Okay, that is time dilation, pushing it to an extreme. From his point of view, or the Earth's point of view, it took you 5,000 years to get to Alpha Centauri, and another 5,000 years to get back. From the guy on the spacecraft, it only took 10 years. The faster you go, the greater the time dilation effect is. Okay, now please bear with me. The most extreme example, which I mentioned in chat earlier, imagine you're a photon. Okay, you're a photon, a particle, a wave, whatever, of light. You leave the surface of the sun, and you're flying toward Alpha Centauri. Okay. Alpha Centauri is 4.2 whatever light years away. You, as that photon, you have to be moving at the speed of light. A photon cannot move slower than the speed of light. Okay. You, as that photon, let's say you've got a little clock on you, absolutely zero time passed in that time it took you to fly from the sun to Alpha Centauri. Now,
So wouldn't it be 4.2 years though?
That depends on your point of view. If you were standing on Earth, or let's say you were another photon on the stayed on the sun, though that's not possible, I guess. Let's say you're some super being, or you're Wonder Woman, and you're standing on the surface of the sun, and you watch that photon fly away to Alpha Centauri. Yeah, it would take 4.2 years from your point of view, from your reference frame, for that photon to reach Alpha Centauri.
But what about if I was the photon? You said it would take 0 seconds.
It would take exactly 0 time. Just bang, all of a sudden, hey, you're at Alpha Centauri.
But I thought you said the Alpha Centauri was 4.2 light years from the sun.
It is. From the sun's point of view, let's say.
Okay, and light can only travel at the speed of light.
Yes.
So what am I missing? Why is it 0 seconds and not 4.2 years?
Because of time dilation. Because of your reference frame, Amanda. if your reference frame is traveling 186,262 whatever miles per second, okay, there is no passage of time.
Okay, then why wouldn't it take 4.2 seconds?
4.2 seconds. I'm sorry. I may have misspoken something.
No, it's probably me. If it's 4.2 years from the Sun to Alpha Centauri, why wouldn't it take a photon of light going at the speed of light? I forget the number you just said. 1 something something 262.
186,000 miles a second. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why wouldn't it take 4.2 seconds for a proton of light to?
Because time slows down the faster you move.
Because time slows down the faster you move.
Now, not from your point of view, strictly speaking.
So for the photon, it takes 0 seconds because time is slowed down because it's moving as fast as it could possibly move, or just
yes.
the speed of light.
Yes.
Okay. Shooter. C2. Daryl, are you watching?
Are you there?
Oops, sorry, hitting 10 different buttons. C2. Oh. Sorry, did you see the shooter? Are you watching Mark's screen on Skype?
I missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I was looking off into space, visualizing.
No, I know. And I went to hit the button, and I hit the wrong button, and then I hit mute, so I couldn't tell you what I was messing up. Okay.
No, that's fine.
So say someone from... I don't know. I don't even know what to say. From Earth? No, because then we'd have to look at different distances again. Right?
I'm sorry, you lost me there. Say that again.
I'm trying to think of how to phrase this next question. If I'm the proton of light from the Sun to Alpha Centauri, it takes 0 seconds because time slows down the faster you move.
Time stops at the speed of light.
Time stops.
Slows down so much it stops.
Okay. So now if we were watching from Earth, how long would it take that photon to reach Alpha Centauri? 4.2
years. And let's say you have some magic viewer that let you look into the control room inside that photon. You would see that little clock that you have inside it, and from your point of view, it would, well, gosh, if I just painted myself into a corner. Yeah, that's photon, not proton.
Sorry.
Marcus. No, don't be sorry. I'm having a good time. I hope you are.
I am, as long as it's not making everyone else crazy.
Well,
might be, and I apologize, but to me, this is fun. I could do this all night, but
that's what I'm afraid of.
But I want to know why, but
well,
okay, never mind.
This is the article of faith part. Now, I'm not blaming you about your math skills. I would have to go grab one of my books and march through it step by step, page by page with a calculator to do it myself. I haven't done this in a very long time. That I might eventually be able to get my head around it. In the end, all I have is a layman's understanding and general comprehension of the subject, I guess, from a layman's point of view. For want of a better word, I'll call it it's all about faith. Yes, thank you, Mark. Lorentz transform equation. I have a great book I could recommend to you, but it's probably, underneath you.
No, don't assume that.
Yeah, no, I mean...
I'll start with baby books if I need to. Oh.
Well, this book could probably get you there. I have a couple that would do it. The one by Einstein and the other one, Why does E equal MC squared? It's a very good book.
I don't even know what all the letters in that equation mean. Energy equals mass over...
the speed of light squared.
Oh.
E equals mc squared. C is the speed of light.
Okay.
And that's a constant you will hit everywhere in physics, astronomy, astrophysics, you name it. C is the speed of light, and E equals mc squared is just energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Ultimately, this all goes back to reference frames, which is what Einstein called it, and which is just a fancy name for a point of view, where you are when you're seeing what's happening. That when I asked Mark about simultaneity and you refused to pull the question back, well,
I want to get back. I swear to God, I want to get back to that.
It depends on your point of view. That you may see two events happen simultaneously, but if you have a different point of view, yeah, thanks, Mark. If you have a different point of view of those two events, they not necessarily happen simultaneously. Now, my point of view when I first thought of that, Mark was talking about galaxies way, way out in the universe and redshifts and, stuff. Something he said triggered my brain about simultaneity as a concept. I guess you could call it a cosmological concept. Cosmology being the study of the universe at large. What I was trying to get at, and I mentioned in chat at one point, was that two events happening in two different reference frames, let's say in two different gravity wells at two different stars, could you ever say that those two events ever happened simultaneously?
The light reaching us would happen simultaneously.
Well, it's see, you're talking another reference point.
For the Jupiter and Saturn example?
That's more of an analogy actually than an actual example of simultaneity. But it's a good analogy. Yeah, it depends on your point of view. If we're standing on Earth and we see a flash bulb go off on Jupiter and we see a flash bulb go off on Saturn at the same exact moment, well, just because Saturn is, 2.5 times farther away than Jupiter is, well, that flashlight would have had to go off on Saturn a whole lot earlier, depending on your point of view, than the one on Jupiter did. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Since the light takes 2.5 times as long to travel from Saturn to here, well, it went off 2.5 times farther back than the one on Jupiter did. I would consider that an analogy, not a real example of simultaneity. But it's a good example. See, it all depends on your point of view. If you were on Saturn, you saw your flash bulb go off, and then X amount of time later, you would see the one on Jupiter go off, that they did not go off at the same time. And if you had a mirror on Earth that you could see those pops of light happen, well, obviously they would not happen at the same time. Thank you, Mark. I don't mean to hog your microphone, your spotlight, Mark. I just...
He's warming up, and there's no way I could keep going on my own.
Okay.
No, this is a lovely offer. Thank you very much. I encourage you to... I mean, Mark doesn't usually abandon posts like this, but...
Mark's cold.
I know.
Mark needs foot warmers.
Yeah, I know, right? Amal, don't listen to me. Everyone will be confused by what I say. I'm just here to gather questions and get some... And that's why I don't watch a lot of these kind of shows, because I would want to pause it every 2 minutes to look up a term or try to understand what this means, and it's just ridiculous. And that's why I was so glad that I got to meet Mark, and he actually tolerates me, because I want to say, why? Well, what does that mean? Well, what does that mean? And that's what he does. And that's what you do, too, and I really appreciate that.
You're welcome, but I have seen you grow so much into this, Amanda, in the time that I've been coming here. And
it still has pretty basic questions, but hopefully that encourages others to ask their questions as well.
Absolutely. You have a greater depth of understanding, a much greater depth of understanding now than you did when I first met you.
Wonderful.
Which was, and I've told you that before, and Mark's told you that. So where are we now?
I want to get back to the spaceship. I was going to ask you something about it, but I forget what it was now. Oh, yes, about the flashlight. Okay, you know how you said, like, when we were talking about sticking your hand into the car and dropping the ball and stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
If you dropped it, it would be going 60. If you threw it 10 miles faster, it would be going 70.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you were inside... Okay, if you were inside a spaceship going almost the speed of light, like 99.99% the speed of light, whatever, and someone from outside is watching you, are they seeing the spaceship moving, just everything inside looks frozen?
Yeah, you could say that, or pretty much frozen. It wouldn't be truly frozen until you achieve the speed of light,
right?
And that is not possible for anything that has mass.
Welcome back, Mark. Hold on one second. Okay, because I was thinking when Mark asked the question, if you turned on the flashlight, what would happen? Would the
light go faster than the speed of light?
Would the okay, this isn't going to make sense, but bear with me. Would the end of the flashlight, would the end of the light from the flashlight not just be a little bit ahead of the spaceship always?
Yeah.
Because it would be that missing 1% faster, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, sure.
But to the guy in the spaceship, though, the flashlight would just hit the wall normally to him from his point of view.
Yeah, yes. I get that. Well, I would have assumed that. But now, Daryl said from the guy outside watching. Well, okay, what would happen with that flashlight? Would they not see any light at all? Would they not see the light suddenly appear a little bit ahead of the spaceship always?
So you're shooting the light outside the spaceship, in the direction you're traveling.
Ahead of you, yes.
Okay. So repeat your question now.
What would the guy outside see when you turned on the flashlight? Would they not see the light just a little bit ahead of your spaceship always, instantly?
Oh, gosh. You have a talent for this, Amanda.
No,
gosh. I'm just a poor old ex-mechanic, okay? I mean, I may have to defer to Mark on this. Offhand, what I would think you would see, if you're traveling at 99.99% of the speed of light and you shine a flashlight ahead of you, the guy on the ground, he would see light move away from you at 0.1% of the speed of light, I guess you might say. I would think the light would be redshifted if it's traveling away from him. Interestingly, not to run away from your question, which I guess I am, if you shine that light back behind you, back toward Earth, okay, well, that light, because the spaceship is moving 99.99% of the speed of light away, and you fired the flashlight back toward Earth, that light is still moving at light speed, but it would it would still be redshifted, would yeah, it would be redshifted by whatever the equivalent of 1/10 of a percent of the speed of light is.
I think we're going to need to do some actual calculations on this, Daryl. I can't.
Don't threaten.
I'm not going to do it tonight because I came out here. I have a single % or two left on this battery that's in, and then I'm out of batteries for tonight. I don't have an electric, or that is a battery adapter for this camera yet. And the reason is because Bill, New York Skywatcher, got one, and when he put it on, it blew out his camera.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he had to send his camera in to be fixed, buying a commercially available, made for his camera battery adapter. So I have not bought one yet. I was gonna make one.
I don't blame you.
I was just gonna make one.
Dave at Astronomy Livestream has recommended that such a thing be done for Bill, and I guess for you too. And I wasn't aware for a long time until Bill told me the story about how he blew up his camera doing that. So I guess Bill just has a heck ton of spare batteries he keeps charged, huh?
Yeah, he just walks back out and puts another battery in, and I don't want to do that. I want to have it all tied to the observatory electrical.
Right.
Yeah, not to take you off the topic of reference frames and Lorentzian transforms, but I am talking about, you know, the stuff. I closed the shutter of the dome, and I'm sitting in the dome, so I don't have a cold breeze hitting me anymore. So I'm trying to make it a little longer here. At least until the last battery dies here. When the last battery dies, we're done. And we've only got like a few % left. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Daryl, thanks, by the way, for pinch hitting while I was warming up my feet inside.
Sure. I had fun.
So what did it feel like being on the other side, Mark?
I enjoyed that very much, actually. It was so much fun to listen to Daryl going on about all these things, which are you know, he's right out of money, you know, for much of it, and it's like, I love it, you know. You're very smart, Daryl, and it's fun to have you around.
Thank you.
And I think
I love having him around.
Uh-oh. Is this the end? Is this the end? Is this the end? Let's find out.
You want me to hand the helm back over to you, Mark?
Oh, no.
I think his battery just... Oh, no. Maybe it was just the cable. It's back.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh, so I went outside for nothing. I thought maybe the battery had died. I'm gonna actually check the battery while I'm out here. There's ice on the deck here, so I'm actually like, ooh. Yeah, being careful. All right, hold on. Let's see what we got. Oh, 2%.
Good timing.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I mean, what? 9, so 3.5 hours.
Okay, let's see.
That's not bad. It was a little after 8 when you started.
Yeah.
8 your time.
I'm gonna try something else. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna shut the camera down for a sec, and I'm gonna pull out this battery. I'm gonna put in a battery that I had put on the charger immediately when I went in to see if it's more than 2%. I'm definitdefinitely going to pursue getting the battery adapter and dare to actually use it. Problem is, these battery adapters use, you know, they're basically like 7 volts, a little bit here or there, but then it's the milliamps that they're drawing. Okay, this was at 20%. So I'm gonna go back in now. We had an image. We sort of do, and it's coming and going. Let me fix that. Let's see if we can get it to stay. Come on. I'm gonna change out all the cords in here tomorrow. I cannot let this go on and on like this. Is not good.
See, I always enjoy things like this.
What, failures?
The kind of paradigms and the kind of theories and the kind of...
Oh, it was there for a second. Yeah.
Because I have that effect on people, Daryl. I don't mean it. I feel like I'm asking very simple, innocent questions that anyone hearing these things the first time would probably ask. Because this is the first time I'm hearing a lot of these things. I do remember the spaceship with the flashlight. I remember hearing it before, but I think whoever told me probably didn't make it very far with me. Because I would have asked the same questions. They would have been like, I don't know.
Well, your questions are not bad questions. What the heck?
I'm just so happy I have people I can actually ask that actually know. Where I can say, oh, I read this article, or I saw this thing on TV, or what does that mean?
You're seeking understanding, Amanda, and that is a good thing.
Yeah. I try.
Now,
and I already thank chat for putting up with me, and everyone's very, very supportive. Another reason I love this community.
Everybody loves you, Amanda.
Ah. We can pretend.
Well, of course they do.
They know that they can count on me to get their questions to Mark or whoever, and I try to post links when applicable, and if they have any requests on things to try to view, I get them to Mark too, so yeah. And then I sneak my crazy questions about spaceships and light flashlights for an hour and a half.
Mark, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah, sorry. I'm in the process of changing out a cable. So it's going to be a little messy for a couple seconds here. All right, pull this out. Cable is in. Yeah, and not the new cable, the old cable is still in. And now I'm going to put this cable on and see what I get. So you see nothing yet. So off this comes, in this goes. And now let's take this out. Sorry, I'm just getting this all set up.
Oh, that's good. Amanda, when you get a moment, go back and look at what I sent you about Auriga a couple of days ago, because that will tell you more than you ever wanted to know about what's going on in that constellation, the story behind it.
Okay.
Yeah. Auriga isn't the chariot. Auriga is the charioteer, the guy driving.
The riding, yeah.
And Capella, the goat star, he has the goat slung over his left shoulder. And the kits, the baby goats, are sort of in his lap. Now, as far as who the charioteer is, there's a couple of different guys. I don't have it open in front of me. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names, but one was a slave and one was not, is what I remember offhand. The other guy I made a joke about, Ericthonius or something like that. There are some interesting parallels to the story of Moses when he was found floating in a basket in the river. That this guy was also found in a basket floating in a river. That if you look at the painting they show on that page, he had tentacles instead of legs, which is really freaky looking. Japanese people probably get off on.
That's weird.
It is.
See, I remember that part, but if you ask me, I wouldn't have remembered that part. But I remember either reading it or you telling me about that, about the basket and the tentacle legs and.
Right. Well, go read it again sometime, and you'll commit it to memory sooner or later.
That's the thing. If I hear stories, at least I'll be familiar with names and stuff. So the next time I hear a name, I'm like, oh, it had to do with that story. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah. Oh, I know how you think. I see Auriga, I see the Pleiades, I see the Hyades, I see Aldebaran.
Yeah. Now, what's the Hyades supposed to be? Just a V?
That's the head of the bull. His nose is pointing right. The tip of the V is his nose. And he's tilting his horns sort of down and forward. That if you draw a line from each of those legs of the V down and to the left, you'll see one pretty bright star, and to the lower right a bit, a slightly dimmer star. Those are the tips of his horns.
At least you did until it went away.
There it is.
Nice.
Those stars that are the tips of his horns are below center. If you see those.
Those are massive horns.
They are. Now, Amanda, you've seen M1 Crab Nebula before. I know Mark has shown it to us. If you see the tip of the lower horn, the one closer to the bottom, M1 Crab Nebula sits right next to that star. The very first object that Charles Messier ever discovered.
Right. Or ever cataloged, anyway.
Right. Right.
Okay, you know what? I'm trying to figure out what's going wrong here, and I've now determined that it's not the cables, the little cables. It's actually the main cable. Oh, did you see that? That's weird. I wasn't even touching it then. That's weird.
Did you ever get a strain relief for the cables, Mark?
Yeah, I got one. It's on there, but it doesn't actually. It doesn't actually strain relief anything.
Well, that's why I suggested the rubber bands earlier.
Yeah, I know.
Bunch up a big loop.
I've got Velcro, not Velcro. I've got tie wraps, the Velcro tie wraps actually.
Ah, okay.
And I thought that would work, and to some extent it did, and to the most extent it didn't. I've used those as well. So let's see what we got here.
Amanda, you asked something recently. Is Taurus fighting Orion?
If Amanda's still there.
Oh, no, she just said in chat Skype dropped her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, then let me see if I can just get her back. In the midst of everything else here. Alright, let's get her back. Okay. Amanda, you can just join the call, can't you? Maybe not, actually. She should be able to just join the call. Well, let's try this. I'm just gonna... I'm trying to bring her back.
Good. I'll be right back.
All right.
I'll be back in just a minute.
I don't see where she is. That's interesting. I'm trying to add her back to the call, and it's not coming back. Alrighty. Well, not sure. Well, we've had a pretty eventful evening anyway, guys. We've been looking at the the meteors that have been Spartan a little bit, but we had some really nice ones. The ones we did see, and I'm really pleased about that. I will fix that camera issue that I had. I know kind of what the problem is. I think my master cable for the HDMI is failing, and that's the one that I shall replace. I already have a replacement for it. I should just put it in and just swap out all the pieces to make it work right. So, that said, let me try to bring back and add Amanda back to this call. So we say add. She should be here.
Okay. I'm back. Looks like Amanda's still gone.
Yeah, I've actually trying to add her twice. I can't see the chat, so I don't know what she's saying. If she's saying anything.
She's saying shutting down Skype. We'll try again.
Okay.
Been one of those nights, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is.
Oh, I had fun. I hope you did.
Oh, yeah.
As always, thank you for having me on.
Of course. And I appreciate your willingness to share your background and knowledge with everybody. You're an excellent astronomer. excellent co-hosting person, and I'm really pleased that you joined us.
Well, I have fun when I'm here, whether I'm on or not, and it's always fun talking to Amanda, even though she's right
there you are.
Up the wall.
She joined the call again.
Whoops.
Nice job.
Wait.
Speak of the devil. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
I see you're back.
Welcome back.
I am. That was crazy. I could not rejoin the call, even when I brought Skype down and brought it back up again, and... Weird.
Well, I actually was dialing.
Did I make it back for the finale?
I was adding you to the call.
Well, yeah, but nothing was happening on my end. I was listening on YouTube, and I heard you saying you were trying to add, and nothing was ringing. It wouldn't ring when I was trying to re-add either.
Okay.
So.
Well, when you join a call, it may not ring sometimes. I sometimes don't get a ring. It's sort of immediate, but.
Well, I even went back. Ooh, shooter.
I saw it. It was zone
5.
3-5, yeah, right. It was a little one, but it was there.
Well.
Watch it down below.
Maybe this guy was happy to see me back.
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe.
Okay.
We can pretend. It's all about pretending tonight. See? You doubted, and look what happened.
No.
Your camera blew again.
I don't know if it blew. I think it was... This might actually be the battery, because this was only partially charged.
Oh, yeah, we have
2%. I don't know. We'll see. I gotta see if I can see the light of the view here with the camera. Oh, I think the cameras did die. And Gabe just got home from law school. Okay, hold on a sec. He comes home every night, though. Let me see what I got.
Well, good thing. It's better than the alternative.
Yeah. Alright, so you still hear me, right?
I do.
Okay.
Daryl, you still with us?
He is still here. Isn't he? Or did it drop him too? I can't see it from here.
Whoops.
Oh,
sorry.
That's
Hi, there I am.
He had it muted.
Had it on mute again.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, this is the last battery and the end of the stream. Because my battery has died. The last battery that I have. And I can't charge them fast enough to turn them around. I'm glad you thought that was funny.
No. I couldn't figure out what Amal was talking about, but yeah, yeah.
What was he talking about?
I was trying to timestamp something, and like it was 23:44, like 40.
Yeah.
But then when I looked back, it had flipped to 45. So I put 45. So I actually said a shooter is going to happen in a minute.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I messed up the time.
Oh boy.
And it just blah. I don't know. I'm in a giddy mood tonight.
All right. Well, look.
I enjoyed talking about that spaceship.
Good. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Obviously, we are effectively out of video signal. I want to thank Daryl. I want to thank all the people that attended with us. I want to thank you, Amanda, for joining me. And I want to thank, most of all those that will become members eventually, because they will be here and we will have a really good time. So, that said, I do want to make sure that you all come back again to SkyTour LiveStream.
Yeah, subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't already, and then you'll be notified when we go live next.
That's right. That's right. And I'll make sure that you hear about it, and I'll make sure that I give you notice as best I can. So that said,
You won't.
I do, actually.
You barely give me notice.
Well, you're always around. So
good night, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for coming, and I will talk to you sooner than later. So, actually,
I bet everybody's going to that other stream.
I hope so. Keep it going. Keep it up.
I probably will too.
Yeah, I'll see you over there.
Okay. Thank you again, Mark. Thank
All
you,
right,
Amanda.
guys.
Good night.
All right, Daryl. We'll see you later. Amanda, good night.
All right.
And have a pleasant tomorrow. I will talk to you guys soon. We'll see you later. Good night.
Night. Are we done?
We are. We'll see you later.
Okay, take care.